Stampeders coming out from Skydome. Matt Dunnigan making headlines off the field last Sunday, hoping to make headlines with an upset on the field tonight in Toronto. Good evening, everybody. Glad you're along for the ride. Calgary coming off a stunning victory last Friday night over the BC Lions. Now, whether they came by it honestly remains up for debate. Either way, this is a Stampeder team that's been front and center both on and off the field for the last 5 days. We're going to get into that momentarily with the help of Marty York and Dwayne Ford, a pair of men to my immediate right. But before we do that, let's bring in the gentlemen who will call tonight's game, those being Jamie Campbell and Grant Carter.
What a week it has been for the Calgary Stampeders. On Friday night, they pull off a victory against BC. Some would say it was miraculous. Others would say it was mildly controversial. Mere hours later, they pick up Kahari Jones from Winnipeg in a blockbuster deal. Tonight, we see a rookie making his first CFL start, Michael Souza. Grant Carter, what is he feeling right about now?
Well, Michael Souza is certainly nervous. There's no question about that. But he's excited at the same time. This is a young kid who's been waiting for his opportunity. And he got it last week when Marcus Kranzel was injured here, hurt his thumb, and had to come out of the football game. Michael Souza took advantage of the opportunity, made some big plays down the stretch. As you see the long pass here to Denny Montana. And this set up the final controversial play of the game. Saw Scott Regenbald get the ball. And did he get in or not? The officials say yes. They walk away from the victory. Michael Souza is excited about his opportunity for his first start tonight.
He drove the team 92 yards in that final minute. Meanwhile, the Argonauts were pulling off a victory against the Edmonton Eskimos, and they saw the John Avery they were expecting, 128 yards in Edmonton. Does that set up a bigger running game tonight?
Well, you can expect to see it. John Avery has been kind of biding his time all season long. He has been coming back from that injury. Pinball Clemens has been very, very careful and steady with the way he's brought him along, and they finally let him loose a little bit last week. You can expect more of that tonight.
What about things on the defensive side? This is among the best in the CFL.
Well, you're looking at two of the best players in the CFL right here, in Michael Fletcher and Noah Cantor, and you can expect that these two are going to have their ears pinned back, and that defense is going to be swarming, and their intent tonight is to make life on Michael Souza as difficult as possible.
Well, we look forward to it tonight. The Argonauts are 7-5-1 and on the cusp of guaranteeing themselves a playoff spot. For Calgary, a somewhat forgettable season as we send it back to our studio.
Thank you, Jamie. Time to check in now with Dwayne Ford and his keys for the game. It's brought to you by the world's largest hotel chain, Best Western. Wherever life takes you, Best Western is there. Dwayne, Mike Souza with a limited window of opportunity, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd say so, Sean. And for Michael Souza, it's all about keeping up with the Joneses here tonight. For him, the architect of Friday's win, as the fellas mentioned, he makes his first start tonight. He's got to prove that he belongs alongside Kahari Jones and Tommy Jones in the Stamps quarterbacking picture for next year. On the other side of the ball, we're talking about D-Max factor. Without much help from their offense, the Calgary D has given this team opportunities to win all year. The recent arrival of defensive end Demetrius Maxey means they shouldn't miss a beat even after trading Joe Fleming to Winnipeg. On Toronto's offense, it's Michael row the boatmen ashore. Until Damon Allen returns, Michael Bishop's job is just to give his team a chance to win. That means make good decisions, get the ball to the playmakers around him, and use his legs when he can't find a receiver. And on defense, dazed and confused. The Argonaut D can perplex even the most experienced QBs in the league with their mixture of blitz and coverage packages. Tonight, look for 3-man rushes, 9-man rushes, and everything in between as they look to confuse the rookie, Michael Souza.
All right, thank you, Dwayne. And it is written into York's contract that he get at least 30 seconds of pregame FaceTime. Asking you shall receive, Marty. The line on this game is 10 points. It was 7 points, moving 3 points just 5 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago, actually. And the reason is simple, Sean. It's Michael Souza's first start. He is raw. In fact, his previous playing experience in the pros consists of 6 games with the Peoria Pirates of Arena Football League 2. I'll tell you what, though, I'm more interested to see how the other starting quarterback is going to do today. Michael Bishop has been a Jekyll and Hyde. Which Michael Bishop are we going to see? The one who gets confused by defenses, or the one who is multi-talented with a tremendously strong throwing arm and the one who can run very, very well? Which one will we see tonight?
Well, you know what? The Calgary defense was awfully good before that Kahari Jones trade, depleted a little bit after. It will be interesting to see. Thank you, Marty. Argos looking to pull 5 points clear of third place Hamilton in the East with a victory tonight in Toronto. It is the Argos and Stamps straight ahead on Rogers Sportsnet. Myself, Marty, and Dwayne. See you at the half.
The sky is speckled with clouds. Beyond that, a gorgeous night in Toronto as you look at the CN Tower, and just below it, the conditions for tonight's ball game. No wind at all like the game we experienced in Regina on Sunday. As you look at Matt Dunnigan, a man who led the Argonauts to a Grey Cup victory back in 1991. His career ended due to a concussion in 96. This is his first go as a head coach. Mike Clemens took over on an interim basis in the second half of the 2002 season from Gary Echeverry and has been fairly successful as a head coach. He joked yesterday that Dunnigan asked for his job as a head coach. Mike Clemens did not, Grant Carter.
You have to be careful what you wish for sometimes. Matt Dunnigan, I know, has been trying to get into a coaching role with the CFL for quite some time, has interviewed for a few jobs, finally got his opportunity in Calgary, and is certainly learning the hard way, as it can sometimes go early on in your coaching career.
Noel Prefontaine kicks it off, and Mr. Sanford has it for the Calgary Stampeders. We are underway at Sky Dome. Sanford down at around the 37. As we take a look at the Stampeders offensively, it's a young team, and they've got 3 rookie quarterbacks on the depth chart.
Well, there's Mike Souza, who's getting his first CFL start tonight. Certainly he's going to be excited. He's just going to have to play under control and not hurt his football team. And the offensive line loaded with veterans. Jamie Crosdale anchoring it right in the middle. Seth Dittman, Jay McNeil, rounded out by Robertson and Jeff Pylon.
Souza came off the bench in that fourth quarter against BC on Friday and led the team to victory. And he'll go to the ground as Joffrey Reynolds takes the handoff, a loose ball, and it appears the Argos may have recovered a fumble. Indeed they do. Celebrating is Jonathan Brown. And that's essentially how the season's gone for Calgary.
Worst case scenario for Calgary here if it ends up being a fumble.
There is no signal yet as Matt Dunnigan expresses his concern.
Still trying to sort it out. You see Reynolds there just working hard, trying to get a few extra yards. It looked as if his knee was down. I'm sure that's what the Stampeders are arguing vehemently on the field right now, trying to convince the referees to give him another down, and they won't.
So Joffrey Reynolds coughs it up. And Michael Clemens will be happy to know that his team goes to offense very quickly.
It's a well-designed play. You see the hole there. Joffrey Reynolds does a nice job of bursting through it. Gets the hit there by Mike Gaucher and just coughs up the ball. Worst case scenario, as I mentioned, for Calgary. They were really hoping to establish some time of possession and some game control there, take some of the pressure off Michael Souza, and here we have the Toronto offense.
Great field position for the Argonauts as John Avery takes it and runs to the far side, avoids one tackle, and he leaps over the 35, close to a first down for the Argonauts. Offensively, here's how the Argonauts stack up.
Talented group of backs and receivers here. You see Andre Rison, the new addition. R.J. Soward has had some big games in recent weeks, and John Avery, as you saw there, is a dangerous weapon. Offensive line, Sandy Annunziata's back at right guard, playing very well. Chad Folk and Jude St. John, the wily veteran and the calming influence of that talented group.
John Avery picked up 128 yards against the Edmonton Eskimos, his best week so far as an Argonaut. They'll give again one more time to Avery, perhaps 2 on that play.
Toronto comes out early in a double tight end set. We're looking at the defense here for Calgary. The front 7, young, Demetrius Maxey back in the fold. This is a 3-time Grey Cup champion who certainly bring a lot of experience to this group, and the linebackers probably as good as there is in the CFL. And the secondary, got some really good ball hawks back there, and Joey Bose is a guy who always has his nose around the football.
2nd and 9 as the Argonauts hope to put some points on the board immediately here. Stepping up into the pocket, almost knocked over, but he gets the pass away to Robert Baker. And he's pushed out of bounds at the 5.
Great patience by Michael Bishop. Had Robert Baker wide open really early. As you're going to see Robert Baker come dragging across the field. Should have gotten the ball to him a little quicker than he did. Takes his eyes off him. There you see Robert Baker flashing across the screen. But Bishop does a good job of staying alive. And then he ends up being even more open. Just puts the ball in his hands. And now you see the speed of Robert Baker as he blasts down the sideline.
And we saw the key to Michael Bishop's game there, his arm strength.
He's as strong as they come. Very powerful quarterback.
4 yards to go for a major score should the Argonauts get one. The give is to Avery. Flags are down. And he'll trot into the end zone for a touchdown. We'll await the call, however.
We'll see what the penalty shakes down to be. It looks like it's going to be against Calgary. And this touchdown will stand.
Calgary, decline, touchdown.
Look at the double tight end set here for Toronto. You got 8 guys across the line of scrimmage. They're just going to match up and play smash mouth. And he just opens up a wide open hole for John Ravy. And he's touchdown Toronto. That's a great way to get off to a start if you're Toronto.
On comes Noel Prefontaine, and he'll put the single point right down the middle. So just like that, mere moments into the first quarter of play, the Argonauts on a John Avery touchdown have a 7-0 lead over Calgary. The Argonauts needed just 4 plays and 44 yards to ensure that John Avery scores a touchdown from 4 yards away. And that gives Toronto a 7-0 lead early in the football game here at Skydome in Toronto as Prefontaine boots it away, and Ronnie Jenkins, the former San Diego Charger, takes it near the corner. He gallops towards the 35, where he's finally taken down by John Williams. A 24-yard return.
You're going to take a look at the touchdown here. You have all the big bodies up front, and you're just going to see these big boys push. You see John Avery just bide his time, and look at the size of the hole for the touchdown. That double tight end set is something that I was told yesterday by Mike Mihalik they were going to look to come out and use early. They certainly have. They've used it twice, both times resulting in huge gains.
Michael Souza gets another chance at the controls of the Stampeders. He'll hand the ball off. And Joffrey Reynolds will carry for about 2.
Number 32, Joffrey Reynolds.
Defensively, the Argonauts are among the best in the league.
They are loaded with talent, and it starts right here at the front 7. Noah Cantor leading the CFL in numerous defensive categories, and the linebacking crew, Kevin Ivan leading the CFL in tackles. In the secondary, there's a veteran group that's played together for a long time. Adrian Smith, the consummate Argonaut who just leads his team year in and year out in interceptions. Look for him to be around the football a lot today.
There's the pitch ahead, and it's Jenkins on a trick play from Souza, but he will not get the first down after a shovel pass that comes up about 3 yards short. So the Stampeders will have to punt it away.
Well, you're going to see just a little shovel pass here. This is a nice, safe play. Put the ball in the hands of Jenkins and hope he can get a first down. But sniffed out well by the defense of Toronto. Tackled about 3 yards short and forced Calgary to punt the ball again.
And now Clinton Greathouse has a decision to make. He's got Arland Bruce and Bashard Livingston, but that is blocked. Clifford Ivory getting in, grabbing the football, but it's stripped away one more time. Scott Coe may have picked up a loose ball from Ivory, but a big play from Clifford Ivory to frustrate the Stampeders.
What in the world has gone on in this play? You're going to see the block come off the corner. He's just going to bust through here. Bad snap to begin with. As you see, he's going to just a little bit low there. There's Clifford Ivory, just takes the ball right off the foot of the punter. Now he gets up, and a good job there to just rip the ball out, as you see. A little bit of low of a snap there. Takes a little too long, then just gets panicked. Almost drops the ball right into the hands of Clifford Ivory. And then it's just a free-for-all. And at the end of it, Calgary ends up with a new set of downs.
What an interesting turn of events. That would have been the first block kick of the year for the Argonauts. It still registers as such, as the give once again goes to Joffrey Reynolds. But in the end, the Stampeders get the ball back.
Well, you certainly see the mentality of the offense for Calgary right now. They know they have a young quarterback in the game, Michael Souza. They want to take some pressure off him, let him settle into the game a little bit. So they're kind of showing their hand by running the ball as often as they have early. Toronto's just stacking the box and stuffing the line of scrimmage a little bit. Eventually, you're going to have to throw a pass downfield if you're Calgary Stampeders.
A concerned Matt Dunnigan looks on as the Stampeders send 4 receivers to the wide side. Here comes the blitz. A flag is down. Souza looking to that far end, finds Mike Juhas for a reception, about 4 yards short of the first down.
Well, that'll help his confidence if you're Mike Souza. Just throw a nice pass. It's going to end up being offsides on Toronto, I believe, which should give them a little bit closer and probably reset the sticks here.
Here's Jake Ireland.
Offside. Toronto number 97. Decline. First down.
And our best goes out to Jake Ireland, who is back in the CFL, refereeing once again. He spent some time in hospital battling cancer.
You see Jonathan Brown just jumps offside a little early there, but a good job by the offensive line of Calgary. And Michael Souza does a nice job of making his decision and throwing a strike to his receiver. That'll help. Every time he throws a nice pass, he'll gain a little more confidence.
From the 40 on 1st and 10, it's Reynolds looking for somewhere to go, but he is caught from behind by Michael O'Shea.
Number 32, Joffrey Reynolds, the ball carrier. Brought down by number 15.
Defense for Toronto early on here is just absolutely piercing through the holes of the offensive line. They're really trying to dictate the pace of this game. There's a number of players that end up in the backfield here. As you see, Eric Anglin should make the tackle in the backfield. Nice strength there by Reynolds to push him off and get a few yards. But Toronto's being very active, showing a whole bunch of different looks. Michael Souza's just got to be wondering where people are coming from at this point.
A gain of 2. It's a 5-receiver set for the Stamps. 2nd and 8. Souza looking to the far side. Once again, it's Juhas. But some terrific coverage by Antonius Bonner.
Smart decision by Souza there. Knew he didn't have enough to get the first down, but what he did do is throw the ball low and outside, so at a bare minimum it was going to be incomplete like it was, but not take the chance of throwing an interception that could end up at 6 points the other way.
So here comes Clinton Greathouse one more time, who, if you're wondering, was named after Clinton Bow of the soap opera Days of Our Lives. Apparently his mom was a big fan. Arland Bruce stands awaiting the punt. And this one is a clean boot and a good one at that. Bruce will take it at his 20. Heading up the seam. No one can take him down just yet until he's finally wrapped up by Brian Clark. The Argos will go on offense when we continue at Skydome. Hitch pass from Michael Bishop out to R.J. Soward along the sidelines and out of bounds at the 38.
Quick play there, just try to get the ball into Soward's hand, let him use his tremendous speed, try to get some positive yardage. Just see here, it ends up being a lateral as he swings back behind the line of scrimmage. The receiver does a good job, actually probably gets away with a block in the back there on the corner for Calgary. But a nice gain there, a couple yards.
Soward had 89 yards against Winnipeg on August the 17th. That's his season high. 2nd and 7. Lots of time for Bishop over the middle to Robert Baker. He'll get the first down and more. John Grace gets a hand on him. Milo Lewis is there too, but not before Baker picks up some serious ground for the Argonauts.
John Grace is almost in perfect position. Here's John Grace right here. Watch him as he settles into the zone, but he's going to have his back to Robert Baker and just turns around a little too late. You see him, he turns around and he's right there, but slips. As a result, Robert Baker just jumps out of his grass and heads downfield. Big gain for Toronto.
3 times this season, Baker's gone over 100 yards receiving. A fresh set of downs for the Argonauts. 7:53 to go in the first quarter. Out of the backfield, it's John Avery trying to get across center field. He'll get to about that point before he is taken down by George White.
Same philosophy, just swing out the back, try to get the ball in his hands nice and safely. Depend on your receivers, the slots to get some blocks downfield, and then it's just one-on-one between a running back and a linebacker in the open field. That time, George White does a great job of securing the tackle for a no gain.
Avery effective on the run and from the pass, catching 260 yards worth of reception so far this year. 2nd and 10, dropping deep is Bishop. There's the gun over the middle to Robert Baker. He is still on his feet to the 15 and down at about the 9. Robert Baker is the star of this game so far.
Robert Baker, great job with his concentration as this ball is almost tipped. He looks it in and then breaks a tackle and is off to the races. But Michael Bishop does a great job at taking the lick, delivering a strike. Watch the rush come off the corner here. Michael Bishop's going to hold on to the last second, take a wallop. Look at the ball just over the outstretched hands of Demetrius Maxey, and then it's Robert Baker making a nice move, picking up a huge gain. His team's got the ball on the 10-yard line.
Matt McKnight couldn't bring him down. He's now at the safety position after the trade of Wes Lysick. They'll fake the handoff into the end zone. Touchdown, Arland Bruce III.
Fantastic play design there by the Toronto Argonauts. Ken Austin, the offensive coordinator, has got Michael Bishop really understanding the game so far. Just does a little bootleg to the front side. He's got a one-pass option there, and Arland Bruce just sits down in the opening, delivers a strike for a touchdown. You see the mesh point there. Michael Bishop pulls it. Good job there by the end to contain him. But he just gets the ball in Bruce's hands before the defender can get to make the play. Nice job.
Prefontaine with the extra point after the 10-yard touchdown pass from Bishop to Bruce. And with that, the Argonauts enjoy a 2-touchdown lead. We'll have Calgary with the ball after this break. It's the big numbers, but Arland Bruce has the latest touchdown for the Argonauts to give them the 14-0 advantage.
Here's the play here. You're going to see the fake handoff. The pressure's on this man right here. He's got to keep his eyes on Michael Bishop to find out where the ball's going. You see him pull it, and then he just bides his time and throws a strike. On the sideline after that touchdown, Don Avery goes to Michael Bishop. If you pull it for me, you better do something with it. Well, he did on that play. Nice job.
A pooch kick from Prefontaine goes to the ex-Argo Randy Bowles. So the Stampeders will start out with some decent field position. Bowles, of course, one of those who came over recently in the Kahari Jones trade.
Good young fullback, Randy Bowles. He's going to bring some toughness. Good lead blocker. Play some special teams. Kahari Jones got all the attention in that big trade, as everybody knows. He was the headline name. But when you factor in some of the other players, most notably Joe Fleming as well, both teams did very, very well in the entire development of how those players move back and forth.
Michael Souza will fake the handoff and roll out. He's got Mr. Bowles out of the backfield. Bonner is there to wrap him up, as Bowles is down at the 45, a gain of about 5.
Nice play there again by Michael Souza. Just nice little reverse bootleg there. Keeps the ball, takes his time, doesn't feel the pressure of the man coming to him, just lets the route develop there and puts the ball right in the hands of Bowles for a nice little pickup. Each and every play that Souza executes it like that, he's going to gain a little confidence. Calgary certainly needs to put together a drive here.
2nd and 5. Again, fake the handoff, and again he'll roll out. Souza sees some space. He's got Ivan on him. And Kevin Ivan will make the tackle.
Michael Souza has some speed, but Kevin Ivan does as well. And you don't become the leading tackler in the CFL without a nose for the football. Watch Kevin Ivan here. Look at him sniff this thing out. Go one way, boom, plant, stop. Now it's one-on-one. Who's going to win this foot race? Kevin Ivan just decides he's going to go get him and just chases him down. Heck of a football player is Kevin Ivan. And he's led his team all season long and really helped complement Mike O'Shea and shore up that linebacking crew.
With that, Ivan has 79 defensive tackles to lead the CFL. Number 2 in that category is with the Stampeders, Joey Bozay. Here's Bashar Livingston back from injury, sidesteps one and is pushed out at the 34. So, here come the Argonauts one more time. They've got a cozy lead in the first quarter. Back underway in Skydome as Garrett Smith has just dropped Michael Bishop for a loss. And they'll push this back, 7 or 8 yards after the rush by Smith. Here's what you didn't see.
Same play as they ran on the end zone. Michael Bishop keeps it again. Garrett Smith is out there on the island once again, but this time does a good job of closing the gap and putting Michael Bishop to the turf to get the sack.
It will now be 2nd and 18 for the Argonauts. They haven't had to start from this kind of field position in this game so far. Looking for R.J. Soward, but he is slightly underthrown. So it'll be 2 and out for the Argonauts.
Calgary had to do something different on defense. The last 2 times they sat back, they rushed 3 guys, dropped everybody else back into coverage, and Michael Bishop has had the time to discern what was going on and make some good decisions. This time on both plays, they bring an extra body. That forces Michael Bishop to have to make the decision a step quicker. You see the result.
The Stampeders will try something a little new as you look at Wayne McGarity awaiting the Prefontaine punt. His longest return this year, 21 yards.
I think Toronto's missing a body. They're just going to take a time count violation here, get their extra guy on the field.
As the play clock ticks down to 0, so Prefontaine will be assessed that penalty.
See Antonius Bonner come trotting out on the field. That's when a leadership of a guy like
Toronto number 1 remains 3rd down.
There's a petty fine for that, isn't there?
Well, there may be. We call those chicken fines when you're not paying attention and you pony up a little dollar that goes into kitty. At the end of every week, you buy chicken for the guys on the team. But that just shows you the cool heads of guys like Mike O'Shea and Will Prefontaine not to panic. Just take back 5 more yards, get reset. Now you see a huge boot here by Prefontaine.
He is the #1 punter in the Canadian Football League, and he limits Wayne McGarity to a return of about 2. A 46-yard punt for Prefontaine, just 2 yards on the return from Wayne McGarity. However, good field position for the Stampeders, and they could use it right about now. You're looking at Matt Dunnigan, by the way. The man he is speaking with is Tommy Dennison, the 3rd-string quarterback for this football team. Chances are we will not see Tommy Dennison play in this football game, but if we do, it'll be the first Canadian in a long, long time. Larry Justanis, in fact.
5-yard penalty. Toronto number 37. First down.
I believe may have been the last Canadian quarterback to take the signals in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats back in 1995.
Tommy Dennison's a talented quarterback. You don't win the Heck Crichton 2 years in a row without having the ability to play some football. He'll get his crack at some point. There's no question about that.
Rolling out is Michael Souza. Over the middle, McGarity is open, but it's picked off by Michael O'Shea. Michael O'Shea taken down at the knees by Ronnie Jenkins. And a costly turnover for the Stampeders as the Argos will have it once again.
Mike O'Shea always around the football. Year in, year out, game in, game out. This is a guy that just finds ways to make huge plays. Unfortunately, in this case, Souza does a great job, and O'Shea's just flying to the ball, trying to get somewhere around it. It bounces right out of the receiver's hands, right into Mike O'Shea's hands. Yet again, another big play for his defense. Souza does a nice job, delivers a strike. That ball has to be caught by McGarity. These guys have got to step up and make some plays for their young quarterback. It's a tough enough row as it is.
Pitch out to John Avery, who looks up the middle, maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. They'll get nowhere. John Grace was there. And the way things are going for Michael Souza, we might see Tommy Dennison by the end of the night.
Well, Michael Souza's not making mistakes. Michael Souza's playing very well, quite frankly. They're not asking him to do a lot. But what he is doing is he's doing well. He's making good decisions. He's not hurting his football team. Throws a perfect strike there to his receiver. The receiver needs to catch the football.
That's 2 interceptions, by the way, this year for Michael O'Shea as Andre Talbot comes into the game for Robert Baker. They'll send all the receivers to the line. The pocket collapses. Bishop's in trouble, and he's finally wrapped up and brought down by Demetrius Maxey.
That's a good football player right there, Demetrius Maxey. So good to see him back on the football field. He's been down in the NFL for a bit. Said he hurt his back at training camp when he was down there trying to make it. Came back up here, and I know he's happy. He's got a long-term deal in Calgary, and he's going to settle in and play some great football. As you see him come on hard off the line, just start pursuing. He and Garrett Smith just team up, put him down, and force the Argos to punt again.
Here's Prefontaine once again with a minute 58 to go in the first quarter of play. If you're just joining us on Rogers Sportsnet, I'm Jamie Campbell along with Grant Carter, and it appears that the Argonauts might be a man short one more time, and that indeed is the case. Mike Crum comes into the ball game.
Toronto number 1. It remains 3rd down.
If this keeps up, Jamie, they're going to have a feast of chicken next week, the way this is going. These guys have got to get this punt team sorted out. What you have is just guys not paying attention on the sideline.
This should result, once again, in good field position for the Stampeders. The rush is on, but Prefontaine gets it away, and it's a dandy. Look at McGarity backing up to take that thing. He's got nowhere to go, surrounded by Argonauts, among them Chris Hardy. Raphael Ball makes the tackle officially. A 3-yard pickup on a 50-yard boot. A one-dimensional team. Is that what we're watching here today?
Well, we are, and there's a simple reason for these numbers. Look how skewed these numbers are. Calgary is throwing the ball so much more than they want to, than they need to, but there's a simple reason for that. They're always behind. Calgary has very rarely this season had the opportunity to play with a lead and try to run some time off the clock and establish their running game. They're constantly having to try to catch up. In that situation, you're always going to have to put the ball in the air. That causes big problems for offenses.
It's a vanilla offense. There's the handoff again. Joffrey Reynolds is getting quite a workload today. And with that punt, Noel Prefontaine went over 40,000 yards in his CFL career.
Noel Prefontaine is such a weapon to have as a punter on a football team. In the CFL, where special teams do play an enormous role in each and every football game, arguably a third of the entire game, when you have a punter that can kick the ball as well as Noel Prefontaine does, you're constantly resetting the field position against your opposition. That is always forcing them to drive the length of the football field to try to score points.
Second down and 3, a handoff once again. Again, it's Reynolds. Kevin Ivan grabs him at the ankles. The Stampeders gain a first down.
Kevin Ivan again making a nice tackle, one-on-one. Joffrey Reynolds. Joffrey Reynolds is a strong running back. You see him just bide him time, close the gap, wrap up nicely, just gets a shoestring there in the end. It's a strong man, Reynolds, but Ivan, a very, very sure tackler, just always has his nose around the football.
And for a team that gained the reputation at the beginning of the year of not liking the running game, they're using the running back quite often this night.
Well, it's certainly going against the statistics that we showed a minute ago. But the reason for this is they know they have to take the pressure off Mike Souza. They can't force him to throw the ball each and every time.
And the Stampeders will take a time count violation, much as the Argos have done on their last 2 punt attempts.
Time count violation. Calgary number 15. It remains first down.
The announcement from Jake Ireland, who, as I told you earlier, was out for a few games fighting prostate cancer. We also send our best to Ken Lazaruk, the referee out of Winnipeg, who broke his leg this week falling off his cottage roof. Hey, you can be injured if you're a referee and a player in this league. There's the snap and the hitch pass out to Nick Lewis. He'll tap dance around for a little while and pick up some tough yards.
Simple play design again for Calgary. Each and every time they're just trying to give this young quarterback an opportunity to settle into the game. Put the ball in the hands of your playmakers. Nick Lewis is a fantastic talent.
That will end the first quarter in Toronto with the Argonauts leading 14-0. We're back for second quarter action. Sportsnet.
Hey, welcome back to Sportsnet Studios, everybody. I am Sean McCormick, here to remind you that Marty, Dwayne, and myself be along at halftime to discuss issues relating to this football game, namely how the Calgary defense has been affected by that Jones trade. Let's go back to Jamie Grant.
We look forward to hearing from Sean McCormick and the panel coming up at halftime as the Stampeders go to work to start this second quarter of play here in Toronto. As Souza dumps off the ball, and there's a gain from Ronnie Jenkins. He'll get past the marker for a Calgary first down. Here are the stats from that first quarter. What do you see, Grant?
Well, you see this right here, 96 yards passing for the Argonauts, and you can give the credit there to Robert Baker, who's just done a great job of making some nice catches, and more importantly, yards after the catch. He's just been a secret weapon unto himself. Other than that, pretty even. Unfortunately for Calgary, they've had the terrible turnovers that have set them back, giving up the 14 points.
Mike Juhas is out. Randy Bowles comes in. And again, there's the give. And once again, it's Ronnie Jenkins.
Number 24, Ronnie Jenkins, the ball carrier.
Ronnie Jenkins has been a great pickup from the San Diego Chargers for Calgary. This is a guy that came into the NFL out of Northern Arizona University and just lit the league on fire. His first week, he's named AFC Player of the Week. He broke Andre Coleman's Chargers record for return yards and touchdowns in his first season. Was a runner to the All-Pro team in the NFL. Spent a few seasons thereafter kind of treading around. They're loving him here, and he's going to be a nice contrast to Joffrey Reynolds. He offers a little more speed in his game.
He was, in fact, a Pro Bowl alternate back in 2001. As Souza rolls out, pressured, but he'll dump it off. And it's Nick Lewis. And Calgary has a first down. We're seeing a more active Michael Souza.
Michael Souza brings a little bit of a different dimension as a quarterback, and that's with his legs. He can really get on the move nicely and throw on the move. This time it's even more difficult. He's going against the grain, against his throwing shoulder. Look how long he takes to let this play develop, and then he throws the ball beautifully. Low and outside, low risk to his receiver, make him go get it. Michael Souza's really playing a good football game here.
4 receivers to the far side, top of your screen. In comes Michael Fletcher on the blitz, but Souza gets it away. Incomplete, though, as it's intended for Wayne McGarity.
When they go look at the film of this play here tomorrow, they're going to see that for once they actually should have taken the first option. The first option on this play is actually a shovel pass going misdirection back the other way. As you're going to see it here. Watch him start to take off this way. The first option is to come back. He doesn't do it, and as a result, you see there, he fakes that ball and starts running for his life. He actually makes a great throw here, a little bit behind, but it was wide open going the other way.
They had only one first down on their first 5 possessions, did the Stampeders, but on this drive, they've had 3 of them. They need 10 yards for another here. Souza across the 35 is Joffrey Reynolds, and he avoids several tackles, but finally steps out of bounds at the 23.
There's the power. We talked about the contrast a few minutes ago with Jenkins. Well, Joffrey Reynolds brings the power. This is a really strong young man with nice feet. And Michael Souza, again, makes the right decision. Well, he seems to be really understanding where he's supposed to be going with the football. 3-step job, quick delivery. Now look at the feet. Nice move there, makes one man miss. Nice little shake and bake right there. It isn't for Ivan, forcing him to step on the out of bounds. We got a touchdown. Let's see how close it is here. Right there. Boy, I don't know. That's pretty close.
Jenkins comes back in. Reynolds is now out. The Stampeders are threatening here and looking very, very good. There's Jenkins. He might have 4 on that play. Clifford Ivory was there. So too was Antonius Bonner.
The plan of attack is very simple for Calgary. They're just giving him 2 reads right now. He's either looking wide or looking short field, and he's got 2 reads. He's looking at the linebacker. If the linebacker is set back and they've got man-to-man coverage, you go to the out route, which he's hitting. If that's taken away, they've got a curl coming behind it, and he's delivering that. Very simple for the quarterback, and he's doing a great job of reading it and delivering the football.
McGarity in Montana to the top of your screen, but Souza wants to go the other way. He's got Sanford in the corner, but that ball is overthrown.
I hate to keep beating the point, but again, he makes the right decision. Unfortunately, they don't complete the pass. Just throws a nice little fade route. He's covered early in this route. Double covered early in this route. Offensive line does a nice job. You see them just getting the defender's hands down so he has a throwing lane, and he just tosses it up. Almost has it. I like that right there. See him compete. I mean, he's mad with himself that he didn't throw a better ball because he knows he might have had a touchdown. That's a guy that's not playing scared or anything right now. He's starting to think he needs to be making a play each and every time. That's impressive for that young kid.
So here comes Clinton Greathouse to attempt a field goal from 27 yards. It is up and good. The Stampeders do get 3 after a nice drive. The Argos still lead it. We're back coast to coast on Rogers Sportsnet after this.
Back at Skydo, the Argos forced to play and yet another short week, and their emotional leader, Mike O'Shea, is living this team on emotion. They're just not recovered from the last game at Edmonton. They're relying on adrenaline and emotion to get them through 4 quarters of football, and Mike O'Shea is again doing it on the sideline and on the field. Send it back upstairs.
Jim Lang, thank you. Jim will be very busy tonight working the sidelines and maybe the stands. It is ladies' night here at the Dome as Greathouse kicks it off after connecting on a 27-yard field goal. Bashar Livingston, always trouble when he has the ball in his hands. And look at him gain some yards here. A flag is down. Oh, and he trips at around the 47. Might have gained a few more, if not for some faulty footwork, but a nice return for Livingston. 25 yards is the gain.
I think this will be got back by holding. Interesting here that Bashar Livingston is playing as much as he is. Michael Clemens told us yesterday in the press conference that albeit they were activating him.
Toronto number 8. First down.
Albeit they activated him, they really were hoping to get through the game and not have to use him. Here you see Chris Hardy, who gets called for the hold. He's just fighting hard there against Pascal Masson from Calgary. Just a little over-exuberant. Unfortunately gets called. He's going to set his team back a little bit.
There's Hardy, the former Eskimo, fighting Pascal Masson, a rookie out of Laval. First and 10. The inside handoff goes to John Avery. He'll change directions and look at the yardage. He's gaining over the 40 to the 45 before he's finally taken down. John Avery at his best.
John Avery is just starting to round into true form for himself. We mentioned in the pregame, he's been very diligent in Toronto this year to make sure that they didn't overwork him early in the season. As you see him, just great eyesight, Initial point of attack, he bursts through that. Now he just opens it up into the secondary and start looking for holes. And nice blocking. Look at the receivers downfield. Andre Talbot doing a great job blocking. That's 20 yards down the field, sticking with his man. John Avery's off to a good start here.
He picked up 24 yards on that run. Bishop with that gun. This time he'll find Arland Bruce, who has one of the touchdowns in this game. But that pass is incomplete.
Yeah, they're going to say they're going to call this incomplete. He delivers a strike, does Bishop. Nice little half roll out there. Get Bishop on the run just a little bit. Quick little smash route there by Arland Bruce. Look at the arm strength. You referred to it, Jimmy. This guy has an absolute cannon for an arm. And here you see John Avery settle in. You know, one of the things you have to do as a running back is deliver a blow, as you see him there do on Joey Bose.
Rolling out to his right. Lots of time for Bishop. Baker goes up for it, comes down one-handed, and it's another incomplete pass. So Prefontaine will step in to kick it away. Michael Bishop was the runner-up in the Heisman race to Ricky Williams back in 1998. The difference, I guess, between the two is that Michael's still playing. The question is, why hasn't he excelled? If he was so good in college, why hasn't he excelled in the CFL?
It's a learning curve. No matter how successful you are as a quarterback anywhere, but in big-time college football like Michael played, you come up here, sometimes there are gaps in his fundamentals. No matter how successful he was as an athlete, and that's really what he was in college, you aren't taught all the true fundamentals. When you get to the professional level, you have to go back and learn some of those things.
Wayne McGarity on the run, a flag is down, and the Argonauts will be called for no yards. The Argonauts, looking for their 8th win this year, have a 14-3 lead with 9:18 to go. On Sportsnet West and Sportsnet Pacific, and if you have the Rogers digital package, you can watch either the news or the baseball or both. Just flip the channels. We're glad to have you as we watch Matt Dunnigan, somewhat concerned at this point. You see his record against Eastern teams. This team has won just 3 times all year against Saskatchewan in the opener, and then victories over Winnipeg and last week against BC. I'm Jamie Campbell along with Grant Carter. Jim Lang is patrolling the sidelines. What do you think Michael Clemens has learned now in about 3 years of head coaching this Toronto Argonaut team?
I think the big thing to learn as a head coach is to delegate. It's so natural for guys like Matt Dunnigan and Pinball Clemens and any head coach for that matter to want to assume as much as you possibly can, because you think that if you do it yourself, you're going to get it done the way you want. But time will show it over and over again that you have to learn to put good people in place, give them an opportunity to do their jobs, and lighten the load on yourself. That allows you to then focus on the details. It's the small things that make the difference. That's what you learn as a head coach as the years go by.
A crossing pattern from Mike Juhas, and he grabs it on one hand. A lovely catch by Mike Juhas, who came across the middle and takes that pass from Michael Souza.
Great hands there by Juhas. Nice time given to Souza by his offensive line, allows this route to develop. Juhas comes all the way across the football field. You're going to see him just drag here. It takes a long time for this route to develop. So look at the offensive line. Standing up, Souza just bides his time, and then a great catch, one-handed by Juhas.
1st and 10 from the 50. Quickly, they'll fake the throw and then give it to Reynolds inside. He won't get much. We're seeing a bit of a trend here. At least we're seeing the Stampeders continue a trend. All season, they've managed just 46 points in the first quarter. That's 15 games worth. But in the second, they've had 86 points. So this is a team that needs to warm up a little.
The reason for that probably is that they have a different quarterback in the game all the time. So the quarterback's having to get his feet under him. That's the case tonight. Michael Souza, his first CFL start. They were very simple again tonight in the first quarter. Gave up some cheap points with turnovers, but I thought did an okay job. Let's see if they can build on that here as the game goes on.
Pitch pass, and it's McGarity. Look at the speed, look at the room. Chased by Kevin Ivan and pushed out of bounds at the 28.
What a fantastic block by Nick Lewis as he just mallets a defensive back and opens up a huge hole for McGarity to cut through. Let's see if we can get a look at this block that comes here at the end of the play. You're going to see the swing route as it starts to develop. There's your block. Whack! Open it up. Nice job. This puts him on his back, opens the hole. McGarity bursts through it. That's teamwork right there. Give Nick Lewis the credit for making that play work.
Once the Argos had a 14-0 lead, and now things are getting a little interesting. Across the middle, intended for McGarity. He might have heard some footsteps, though.
Ball throwing a little bit behind him. You see McGarity get up and slap his hands together. He knew he was open. Had that ball been on target, he would have had a nice reception. Michael Souza upset with himself as well. After he threw that ball, he knew he'd let him get away there. Again, he's starting to show some confidence, maybe even bordering on a little bit of arrogance, because he's expecting to make great plays each and every time. That's what you want to see in your quarterback.
Michael Souza played in the Arena 2 League with the Peoria Pirates before joining the Stampeders, and he's looked very good in the second quarter. There's the shovel, but Jenkins wasn't ready for it. So once again, Clinton Greathouse will have to come in and attempt a field goal.
It's a good play call. Noah Cantor gets in there and really disrupts things. I don't think the play would have gone very far, even had Reynolds caught the ball. But again, a nice safe call down here. Doesn't work out, but you don't hurt yourself. Give your kicker a chance to put some more points on the board. Just chip away at this thing.
This will be a 37-yard attempt for Greathouse, who connected earlier in this quarter from 27. And it's blocked. It's blocked. Eric England chasing the ball, but a big block by the Argos, and they'll have good field position when we return. Noah Cantor got the block, but he had some help. It was a bad snap from Bill Chamberlain.
Snaps a little low, and then Souza has a hard time kind of getting a hold of it and getting it set up for his kicker. You see here, the ball comes in just a hair low, and then Souza has a little trouble getting it, putting it up for his kicker and setting it. By that time, too much time had passed, and Cantor just burst through the line and get his big mid on it.
There's young Chamberlain. Played his university ball at UBC. It'll be 1st and 10 for Michael Bishop and the Argonauts, leading this game 14-3. Quickly out towards Andre Rison, but it falls incomplete.
We saw early on in this game, first couple series, Calgary sat back, they rushed 3, they were trying to play some zone, read the eyes of Michael Bishop and make some plays. Didn't work. He was throwing the ball down the football field, had guys open all over the place. Since then, Calgary's made the decision they're bringing linebackers or a halfback on each and every play. They're bringing at least 4 or 5, forcing the decisions by Michael Bishop to be much quicker, and he's been much more ineffective since they've begun to do that.
2nd and 10. Dropping back is Bishop. He'll move into the pocket. Oh, Brian Clark is there, and Bishop goes nowhere.
On this play, let's give the credit to the secondary. This play goes to the secondary. They had fantastic coverage. Michael Bishop had enough time in this instance to complete a pass or get one off. And eventually the pocket just closed on him because the coverage on the back end was fantastic. You're going to see here the offensive line does a pretty good job. They rush 4, a little stunt there in the middle. Plenty of time. Then Clark just falls off and makes a nice play. But the secondary, again, held up well on that play.
So here comes Noel Prefontaine, and he's going to count the men in front of him. Twice tonight, the Argonauts have been called for a time count violation. And he'll drop that ball. Trouble for Prefontaine. And the result is Andre Arlane.
The tide is starting to turn.
Yeah.
Calgary's hung in here. They've overcome those early mishaps, and now they're starting to really gain some momentum in this game for themselves. Here's the snap. Not a bad one, right on the hip there. Prefontaine just simply drops the football. Took his eyes off the football for a brief moment there and just dropped it. Does a good job to fall on top of it. But Calgary's not got fantastic field position.
It looked like he was counting bodies in front of him. Could he be fazed by those time counts that they've been taking early in this game?
Well, it's his responsibility. The punter's job is to count the number of bodies out there with him and make sure they've got enough. Certainly, because of what's happened in the last 2, he's probably double counting and triple counting. Probably got caught in, mid-count in that situation and dropped the football.
There's McGarity, and he'll go to the end zone. Juhasz, touchdown, Calgary. That play works.
There you go. Nice play design here. A little lateral pass to McGarity, and then he shows the left-handed cannon. He throws a deep one to Juhasz for the touchdown.
pass to Mike Juhas for the touchdown.
Exactly what Calgary needed. They've done a great job of settling into this football game and overcoming all that early stuff that happened to them with the fumbles and the drop punts and everything else. They fought and scratched their way back into this football game. Nice job.
Mike Juhas, in his second year with the Stampeders, pulls in his second touchdown this year. And a nice pass from Wayne McGarity, who can do it all. Greathouse has the extra point, and suddenly the Stampeders are back in this ball game.
Take a look at the play here. Just a nice little lateral pass here. The boys are flying up to give McGarity, and he just quickly, that's a grab it, one step and go. Just gets it over the outstretched arms of Orlando Steinauer. Look at Ivan. Ivan thinks he's got it. I got him! Look at this, just quick release. The southpaw, McGarity, going the perfect strike, and Juhas, nice concentration there to pick it off the fingertips of Steinauer for the touchdown.
What do plays like this do to the confidence of a young quarterback?
Well, he's got him back in the football game. I mean, he's down now, 4 points. That's handleable. You can deal with that. Sousa's done a nice job. We've mentioned it over and over. He's playing within himself and running a nice game. But when you can hit a home run like that on a trick play, you know you got one chance on that. If it works, you see the result. If it doesn't, well, you've shown it, you scrap it. But you can see the smiles now. Look at him smiling. They're slapping hands. Matt Dunnigan is even smiling there for a minute. We haven't seen that very much, not in this game, this whole season.
Juhas tonight has 3 catches and 54 yards, and now a touchdown. His season high, 73 yards in Edmonton on September 10th. So he's due for a season high this night as Greathouse will kick it off. Arland Bruce III. Will the Argonauts get a good play here? Finds the seam. No one has taken him down just yet. Jason Taylor impedes his way, but not before Bruce gets to the 50. Let's go down to the sidelines. Here's Jim Lang.
Jamie, that touchdown by Calgary seemed to suck the life out of the Toronto Argonauts. They're physically beaten right now. They're really starting to run on vapors. So they really need an offensive spark, because the touchdown by Calgary, you see guys just deflated. Send it back up to you.
And these are 2 teams that are playing on a short week. Calgary played on Friday. The Argos played Saturday. We'll discuss that momentarily as Bishop goes to work from the 50, 1st and 10. He'll pitch it out. There's Avery. He gets by White, or does he? Backing up, nowhere to go. Swarmed by the Stampeder defense, and a loss of about 11 yards.
Swarming defense by Calgary right there, and a great job on the edge by George White of recognizing the play and avoiding an early block, and that basically stretches this play out. You see what John Avery sees here. There's George White. He's forcing him to the sideline. Now look at the pursuit. John Avery simply has nowhere to go. There's too many red hats coming at him. Nice play there. Calgary's playing some spirited football. Certainly the big home run trick play there a minute ago helped, but their defense has really held in. Done a great job of getting them back in this football game.
A loss of 6, 2nd and 16. Bishop looking deep. He's got nowhere to go, so he'll run the ball. Looking for a first down. He'll fall about a yard short.
Smart football here on both sides of the ball. Michael Bishop recognizes he doesn't have the downfield receivers open, just tucks it and goes, picks up a huge gain, comes up a few yards short. They may end up going for it here, but on Calgary's side, did a good job as well. They just dropped into a comfortable zone. They recognized they had 2nd and very, very long. They decided they just were going to keep the receivers in front of them and not let a big play get over the top for a first down or worse.
Bishop picked up 14 yards on that run. Not enough for the first down, and look at this wild formation as the Argonauts have 10 men to the right side. We saw a trick play from the Stampeders offensively, and now everybody shifts to the left, settles in around Randy Shorskensky and the punting team. Prefontaine still has about 10 seconds on the game clock, but they'll have to get it away sometime soon. McGarity awaits this punt, and it's a line drive that drops McGarity back to his 2. Here comes the special teams of the Argonauts, an effective play by Raphael Ball.
Great pursuit there by the punt cover team for Toronto, but Pinball Clemens was hot on the sideline. They came out in a real unique formation where they had the center and the punter out in the middle of the field and everybody else over on the sideline. And they were ready to run a trick play. They really had caught Calgary out of formation. They didn't know how to handle it, but the officials decided at that moment that they had to check something, I think it was with the play clock, and told everybody to wait. Pinball Clemens is mad because he's shown his hand now. So now, Calgary, the next time they see it, they'll have a chance to react to it. He lost his opportunity, he feels, for a big play.
Deep in their own zone. Michael Souza working from the 9. There's the handoff inside. Joffrey Reynolds taken down at the feet by Kevin Ivan.
This is where Michael Souza has to be very careful. You always get a little worried when you have a young quarterback. When you're backed up in your own end. But look at Kevin Ivan here. There he is. Let's just watch him. Watch him come in. Shed the block, free himself, and make a one-on-one tackle. This is why this guy's the leading tackler in the CFL. He's got eyes. He's got some strength to shed blocks, as you saw there. And then he just doesn't miss when he gets an opportunity.
Nifty numbers for Souza. His team down by 4. The give again to Reynolds. He's got the first down out of bounds at the 20.
Good speed there by Reynolds to get outside and pick up the first down. Calgary, I believe, got away with a hold here on the edge. We're going to see just a hard slide right. Does a good job there. We talked about Kevin Ivan a minute ago. That time he did miss. But really give the credit to Reynolds, who showed a nice little burst and some strength to get to the corner and get a new set of downs.
Reynolds has 39 yards on 9 carries. This will be the last play before the 3-minute warning as he rolls out, does Mr. Souza, fires over the middle, picked off Antonius Bonner. Finally corralled at the 20 by Salucio Sanford. Matt Dunnigan having an animated conversation with Michael Souza. Grant, what's he saying?
Well, I spoke about it a minute ago. When you have a young quarterback backed up in your own, you can't make dangerous plays. He's going against his body here. He just makes a bad decision, makes a bad throw, and now it's cost his team.
Oh, Jonathan Avery still on his feet, but John Grace finally comes around to put him down. Grace picked up in that massive trade with the Ottawa Renegades, and he has not disappointed this team. A 4-time Player of the Week defensively.
Michael Souza, is doing a good job. He's got to put his team in a bad situation. And look at John Avery here, churning those legs. I mean, look at him. They're just going 100 miles an hour. He's shucking and dagging, shucking and missing tackles there. Does a great job of just fighting for a few yards.
Grace helping Joey Bozé make the tackle. 2nd and 9 for the Argos. Looking. Touchdown, Toronto. And it's Andre Rison.
The bad moon Rison has risen again. Great catch here.
And that was a bad moon we just saw.
Yes, it was. This ball's a little bit behind Andre Rison. He just does an incredible job of reaching out behind him and snagging this ball out of the air. Michael Bishop just sets his foot, throws a dart. Look at this. One hand behind him. Ooh, that ball looks like it might have come out there underneath his body, but they give it to him.
You can question whether or not he had control of that football. This is the man who, when he arrived in Toronto, called himself the best receiver ever to play the game.
Watch the protection here from the right guard, Annunziata. Look at the cut block there on the outside. Doing a great job. Dave DaCosta, and here's Brian Clark. Look at him. His job is to get his hands in the throwing lane. No way. Just chops his legs out right underneath him. That's what allows the throw to be made, resulting in a touchdown. Well executed there by the offensive line.
Andre Rison's history is well documented. 12 years in the National Football League and 5 Pro Bowls. He won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. And yesterday was telling us that when he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs in 1997, he bought Bo Jackson's house. Did he have possession?
I don't think he did, to be honest. He made a nice catch, trapped it against his shoulder pad, but as we saw in that first replay, it looked like it might have come loose there as he was sliding to the ground. Notice, to no avail, counted for 6.
Turnovers are hurting the Stampeders. They've turned the ball over 5 times. 14 of Toronto's 21 points have come on them.
Look closely here. There he catches it against his shoulder pad. He's going to get possession, and there it is. You see it right underneath the bottom of the screen there. It bounces loose. But being the wily veteran that he is, he sells it. Right? He immediately jumps up, puts his arms in the air, says touchdown. 6 points.
So when instant replay comes into the league next year and you're Jake Ireland, how do you call that?
If I'm Jake Ireland, I call it a non-reception. I say it's incomplete pass. We'll have to wait till next year until he gets that opportunity with the instant replay. But there is the exact reason why they're going to implement the instant replay into this league, and it's a good thing.
Little pooch from Noel Prefontaine, and it's Lucio Sanford running into some traffic. That traffic named Jeff Johnson. The Argonauts have a more comfortable lead now, 21-10 with just over 2 minutes to go.
Calgary needs to put together a drive here. Whether they end up with points or not, they have to take some time off the clock. What they can't do is allow Toronto's offense to get right back on the football field with enough time to put together a drive and try to get some more points to just increase the difference between themselves and Calgary. It's going to be vital right now that they execute a few plays and pick up some first downs.
Souza with some time. Pressured from the corner, so he'll run. That pass, batted down, and it's Noah Cantor. What a season he's having.
What an active player. I mean, here's your nose tackle, and he's on the sideline knocking down balls. I believe he's actually second on the team in pass deflections as a defensive lineman. This is nothing but hustle, guys. Look at him. He's on the sideline. Noah Cantor's run 30 yards. This does a good job of getting his hands up and knocking it out of the air.
Noah Cantor is Jewish, and while observing the Jewish faith last week, observing Yom Kippur, he fasted before the game against Edmonton and didn't have his first meal of any kind until minutes before kickoff at Commonwealth Stadium. Said he was fine, not really dehydrated. Souza will run it himself up the middle on the draw and come up about 3 yards short of a first down. So here comes Clinton Greathouse to punt it away for the Stampeders, with Greathouse handing the punting duties and the kicking duties, as Charlie Hebert did earlier in the season. This is the first time we've seen one man handle both duties in Calgary since J.T. Hay back in 1985.
Well, you look at the subtleties in the game, and here's where the effect of a young quarterback really focused in on the decision of Matt Dunnigan on that play call. I talked about the fact that they had to string together some first downs and take us some clock. Well, they didn't want to take the chance of the young quarterback throwing an interception, so they make a conservative play call, and as a result, they have to punt the ball away as they have here to Toronto.
Arland Bruce III will not go anywhere. No yards will be called on the Stampeders as Wes Robertson makes the tackle. A 33-yard punt, a 6-yard return. Standing by at our studios, Sean McCormick, Marty York, and Dwayne Ford will analyze this first half of play, and what an interesting first half it's been. With the Argonauts leading 21-10, we've got 1:43 to go until those gentlemen take over. I'm Jamie Campbell along with Grant Carter, Jim Lang, working the sidelines. Good to have you for our final CFL broadcast of the year here on Rogers Sportsnet.
Toronto got exactly what they wanted. They've got the ball back at darn near midfield with 1:43 left. Plenty of time. They're looking to put some more points on the board before halftime.
Bishop, handoff, Avery. Brian Clark says no.
Run down by number 48, Brian Clark.
Michael Bishop has done a nice job in this game of executing the offense. They haven't been on the field a lot, but he hasn't hurt them. They've been conservative. They've really tried to establish John Avery in the running game, which they've been able to do a little bit. But Michael Bishop hasn't made some of the poor decisions that he'd made in recent weeks and hurt his football team.
A 5-yard gain as Avery goes in motion this time. So this will be a pass play, and Bishop is looking at Risen once again. Again, Brian Clark is there on the coverage. So Calgary will get the ball back with 1:17 to go in the half.
Good battle by Calgary's defense, but Michael Bishop should have run that football. He had all kinds of daylight in front of him. Should have just took it, picked up the first down, but he tries, you see it, he's starting to break the contain there, and he's got all the space in the world. Tries to make a nice throw, it's on target. Give Brian Clark credit. Great series for him. A big tackle on John Avery, and then comes and makes the pass deflection, gets his team off the football field.
When we last saw Noel Prefontaine try and punt the ball away, he dropped it. We will see what transpires this time around. Good protection for Prefontaine. Here's Nick Lewis to take it for Calgary. Tripped up by Mike Crump. A 49-yard boot, a 5-yard gain.
We're right back in the same situation again here. Calgary backed up deep in their own end. Michael Souza this time has to come out. I know he got us talking to by Matt Dunnigan last time. Make smart decisions. It's late in the half. We're backed up. We just got to be safe. We got to be smart. Don't turn the football over like we did last time when he threw the interception. This time, I think you're going to see some runs, try to run the clock up or run the clock down a little bit. But it's going to be imperative that he doesn't do anything to hurt his football club right here.
The Stampeders have turned the ball over 5 times so far in this game as we near halftime in Toronto. 4 receivers to the top, but he'll hand it off. And it's Ronnie Jenkins. Guess who may be back at the next home game for the Toronto Argonauts? This man, Damon Allen. You talked to him before the game. What did he have to say?
Well, he was excited because he felt that his recovery was way ahead of schedule. He was talking to us, saying that he'd been working hard and that because Toronto has a bye after this game, he may be back for that Thanksgiving Day game on the 11th. You see the stats there. Look at the big one there. Touchdown to interception ratio. Damon 11-2. Michael Bishop 3-11. That's experience. That's just understanding the football game. And when you've got 20+ years of it, I think you're doing okay for yourself.
Handle our business tonight.
Damon Allen broke his left tibia in Montreal on August 12th after he was hit by Tito Simpson. And he is eager to get back into things. As Souza will hand it off once again to Mr. Jenkins. Michael Fletcher claims responsibility for the tackle. Was it enough to get a first down?
Well, they got a generous spot there. Jake Ireland must have been in a good mood on that moment because I wasn't convinced he had gotten the first down, but he made a quick call and gave him the first down, and that was very important for Calgary because I'm sure Matt Dunnigan was not wanting to have to make that decision to go or to punt.
Under a minute to go at Sky Dome. Souza would love to get some points here before they go to the locker room. He'll drop the ball and wisely fall on it. Well, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad when you're a rookie.
Well, he doesn't panic. You know, it's unfortunate the ball just falls right out of his hand. As you're going to see here, he takes the snap, goes to put it in there, and it just jumps right out of there. But falls on it, doesn't panic. Just be safe and line up, play another down.
Souza will roll out, and he'll look deep. Overthrown and intercepted. Adrian Smith. Will he get to the end zone? No, but he's close. And here come those mistakes that you talked about mere moments ago.
Well, he makes a bad mistake of throwing the ball into coverage, which ends up in the interception, but I have to question the play call. We saw the exact same call result in an interception the last time they were backed up. They have him rolling against the grain. You're going to see us here. They're going against his throwing motion. He's going to have to stop, reset himself, and make a deep throw. That's hard to do. He overshoots one and undershoots the other right into the arms of Adrian Smith. Terrible rookie mistake again, but you just got to wonder, why are they being so risky? See him pull up. Good pressure there. But boy, they've just hurt themselves again. 2 times backed up in their own end, and it's going to end up resulting in probably 14 points for Toronto.
Smith has his second interception of the year. As the Argonauts are first and goal to goal. Jonathan Avery is in for the touchdown.
Good eyes by Jonathan Avery, just lets the play develop, breaks outside for a touchdown. But again, another touchdown handed to the Toronto Argonauts on a silver platter. Look at Kahari Jones preaching to the young quarterback, telling him, look kid, you got to make a smart decision when you're backed up. See everybody, a nice block there on the end by Mike Mihalik. Great job there. He was in a bit of an H-back position and just pins down the edge. Lets John Avery walk in for a touchdown.
Prefontaine with the extra point. That extends the lead now to 18. The rookie out of Queens. He's a big man, 6'4", 275 pounds. They'll lead him off the turf with 29 seconds to go. Once again, the Stampeders are in a position to receive a kickoff. This is not the way they wanted things to go here in Toronto, down by 18 in the first half of play at Sky Dome. There's the squib by Prefontaine, and it's picked up by Juhas, who has the lone Calgary touchdown.
Calgary is just going to have to try to run the clock out here. 25 seconds left. Just get in here and run a couple plays. Don't do any further damage to yourself here late in the first half. John Williams looks to be a little shaken up. He actually made the tackle on the play, got up to celebrate. Looks like he got a cramp or something to his hamstring.
He's had an impressive game on special teams. He's the son of John Twiggy Williams, who played 8 years in the Canadian Football League from 1967 to 75. Here's how it happened.
See, Juhas just picks up the ball, and John Williams is just running hard from the back here. You see, he makes a nice play. Doesn't see anything being wrong there. He gets up, starts to dance, and then all of a sudden, whoa, grabs his hamstring.
We've seen a lot of interesting developments this night. Watch snaps, drop passes, interceptions. There are 17 rookies in the lineup for Calgary. So as much as you can blame Matt Dunnigan and his revolving system for the failures of the Stampeders this year, you also have to realize that they're a very young team.
Well, they are. They're a very young team, but Matt Dunnigan is the GM as well as the head coach, and he's built this team. So he made a very conscious decision when he received this job that he was going to put his stamp on it and build from within and play a lot of young players. Now, time would tell you that over time they're going to get experience and should be very, very good. You just got to wonder, is Matt Dunnigan going to be afforded that time?
The handoff, and Reynolds will take it for a few. 20 seconds to go in the half. Again, stand by for our halftime show. Sean McCormick, Dwayne Ford, and Marty York are standing by for their analysis. The Stampeders, it's assumed, will try and be conservative here with just 10 seconds to go in the half. Time for perhaps one more play. There's the give to Reynolds. Taken down by Antonius Bonner, and the clock will run out. Grant, it's been impressive for the Argonauts, but Calgary has certainly helped them out.
Interesting way that first half is shaped up. Toronto gets off to a huge early start with a miscues from Calgary. Calgary settles in, claws their way back into this thing. Looked like they had all the momentum, and then it just literally came undone. A couple of terrible decisions, and they're out of, they're losing by 18 points.
Jim Lang has Mike Pinball Clemens.
Thank you, Jamie. You know, it got pretty close there for a second with the Calgary Stampeders and the Wayne McGarity touchdown toss, and your veteran defensive players stepped it up, and your veteran offensive players sealed the deal.
Well, you know, it has been a balanced effort. We've been a little bit sloppy, but when you played just 4 days ago, you expect that a little bit. The key is the guys are giving great effort, and they're not giving up. We've had some veteran guys make some big plays.
You know what, you talked about the importance of John Avery getting a lot of touches, and he's been effective this first half.
Yes, I thought that I still think we got to get the ball to him more. We got to run the football more and control the tempo of the game.
Thanks, Pinball. Good luck in the second half. Back to you, Jamie Campbell.
John Avery has 2 touchdowns. The Stampeders have 6 turnovers. The Argonauts lead. We take it to the studio and Sean McCormick.
Thank you, the gentleman that they lost in that Kahari Jones trade right now.
Well, obviously, Sean, it showed up a little bit in the first half. Everybody's going to talk about the departure of Joe Fleming, and no, you can't replace a guy like Joe Fleming. But let's talk about Wes Lysak on the back end. This is a guy who is becoming one of the better safeties in the league. He's being replaced tonight by Matt McKnight. McKnight's been around the league for a few years, but is a guy who hasn't played a whole lot. You see him here, caught a little bit out of position on the pass to Robert Baker down the middle, and then he misses the tackle. And that's something not necessarily Matt McKnight's fault, but he just hasn't had a lot of experience playing the safety spot the way Wes Lysak had over the course of this year, and you can see the hole there.
And you know what, Dwayne, they're not only missing Lysak and Fleming, but they're also missing the third man who was in that trade, Scott Regenbald, because Scott Regenbald plays on the special teams, and the Stampeders have had all kinds of trouble blocking for their punter tonight. In fact, he is usually the deep back guy on that, and look what happens here. Without Regenbald, the punter, Ivory, has a pick. He just snatches the ball. Not even a problem.
Guys, the Calgary Stampeders in this football game up until the last 30 seconds of that half, and they're definitely not out of the football game yet. But, Marty, my question to you, is this the time of the season where you really begin hating to play teams like Calgary? They've got nothing to lose. Calgary's got confidence beating BC last week, and they're unpredictable. Look at Wayne McGarity's touchdown pass.
Yeah, and you know what, Sean? That's exactly what Pinball Clemens was preaching to his players this week. He said, A, we have a short week, so you have to be on your toes, but B, you're playing a team that has nothing to lose, and I know that he emphasized that repeatedly to his players, and it looks like his players must have listened because they don't have anything to worry about, I don't think, in this game.
Well, sure, and the other thing that Calgary's got going in their favor is that there's kind of a renewed enthusiasm there for a team that hasn't had a lot to get excited about over the course of this season. I know some of their guys who are maybe thinking they'd like to get out of Calgary, whether by retirement or free agency at the end of this year, are now excited about coming back because of the presence of Kahari Jones.
Guys, if that's textbook football, they're not going to sell very many copies. Dwayne, you got a blocked punt, a blocked field goal, and a botched snap on a punt. I'm imagining the special teams are taking a long, hard look on in both dressing rooms at halftime.
No doubt about it. Marty touched a little bit on Calgary's special teams, but I want to look at Toronto too. Caught twice napping, a man short on the field, and then also on the punt that they didn't get off where Prefontaine had to scramble with the ball. You look at their lineup, and a lot of guys weren't even ready when the ball was snapped. So obviously there are communication problems, and that stuff they've got to get straightened out.
And Dwayne, the Calgary coach, the Calgary special teams coach named Trey Junkin has been a source of concern for the Stampeders all year. Has no CFL experience, was a long snapper in the NFL for a long time, and got the job because he's a close friend of Matt Dunnigan. But the truth is that the players have been questioning Trey Junkin's knowledge of the CFL all season, and really, that's been a source not only of concern, but a source of friction as well. And you know what? You also have to wonder about Matt Dunnigan. And, you know, yes, he was a terrific quarterback in the CFL for a long time, but why in the world is he letting Michael Souza, with 45 seconds left in the first half, why is he letting him go into a hurry-up offense? To me, this makes no sense. He's deep in his own zone. He just fumbled the ball, and all of a sudden he's forcing up, instead of taking his time with a huddle, he's forcing up a throw which was intercepted and led to the Argos' fourth touchdown. Matt Dunnigan has to take some of the blame for what's happening to Calgary tonight as well.
Guys, 28-10 Argos at halftime. Third quarter is on the way. You do have the option to join us for it, but if you listen to Wayne McGarity, you might want to take that option. 28-10, Toronto at the half.
Hi, I'm Peter Loubardius in the Sportsnet studios. Hope you're enjoying the Argos and the Stampeders on Rogers Sportsnet tonight. In Major League Baseball, it happened. The Expos are indeed playing their final game ever in Montreal tonight after it was announced officially they'll be relocating to Washington for next season.
It's been a long time coming, but we want to shout it from the rooftops. Let's play ball!
We've worked long and hard. This is the last residual contraction. We have a lot of work to do yet. They're convinced that it's going to be great, and time will tell. But they are convinced. And they're, going to build a beautiful stadium.
It's a day where the sun sets in Montreal, and I guess a day where the sun rises in Washington.
In red tonight in Toronto. I'm Jamie Campbell, joined by Grant Carter and Jim Lang. Here are the assessments from that first half of play after a Calgary fumble. John Avery goes in from 7 yards to give Toronto the opening touchdown. And then Arland Bruce III will make it 14-0. That's how things ended in the first quarter of play. By the second, slippery fingers from Noel Prefontaine allowed the Stampeders to recover. And then the lateral, McGarity takes it from Souza, and then McGarity gives it to Mike Juhas. Touchdown for the Stampeders. They climbed to within 4. But then there's that bad moon rising again as Andre gets his first CFL touchdown. An Adrian Smith interception led to John Avery's second touchdown of the game, and the result is a 28-10 lead at the half.
Well, you see the halftime stats here. Let's look at the time of possession. Calgary, you think they'd be doing a good job, but even worse. Look at that right there. 6 turnovers, that's killing them.
Jim Lang is with the rookie coach.
Matt Dunnigan, Michael Souza making his first CFL start. Some brilliant moments and some rookie mistakes.
Yeah, you expect that. He's learning. And I told him I threw 211 of those in my career, so he's got a long way to go. He said, but keep those in the first half, come out here in the second half and reload and erase those thoughts, learn from them, of course, but just come out here with confidence. And if we quit shooting ourselves in the foot, we're right in this ball game. We've given them a lot of points.
Good luck in the second half, Coach. Back upstairs to Jamie and Grant.
Jim, thank you. You may be wondering why Matt Dunnigan has a shaved head. Well, many of the Stampeders got together in support of Jamie Crysdale and shaved their heads for Kids Cancer Care Foundation of Alberta. Jamie's daughter, Grace, has leukemia, and she's doing very well, I might add. And if you're watching back in Calgary, Grace, good to have you on tonight, watching your dad play effectively for the Stampeders. You'll see the shaved heads throughout the lineup for the Stampeders tonight. Good for them to get involved with the Cancer Care Foundation in Alberta. Underway in the second half is Arland Bruce III will take it for the Argonauts. Oh, look at the room. He's being chased. Will he be caught? Maybe, perhaps not. Yes. Andre Arlane finally catches up to him, but it's a big gain for Bruce, 55 yards.
Arland Bruce is such a secret weapon for this team. That's what he does here. He does a nice job of just heading to the wide side, taking his time, letting the wall set up, and then it's just speed. Foot race down the sideline, makes a nice little move there, breaks a couple tackles. Only fantastic hustle by Andre Arlane prevents him getting from in the end zone. It's a reverse angle here coming right at you. Right near your living room. Look at the speed right there.
A double tight end set now for the Argonauts as they'll give to John Avery. He'll go up the middle. Wrapped up from behind by the former Tiger Cat, Scott Coe.
We saw this double tight end set by Toronto early in the first half. They used it very effectively on one of their touchdown runs. That time they run a little trap inside with Chad Folk just trapping the defensive tackle. When they put those two big bodies in there, Mike Mihalik and Landon, it really gives them a formidable front, and they're just resetting the line of scrimmage on the Calgary deep front seven.
Avery with 49 yards. He had 128 on the ground in Edmonton. A 6-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 4. Looking to the short side is Bishop, and wide open R.J. Soward. Oh! Touchdown Toronto.
We talked about the arm strength with Michael Bishop in the first half, and he just showed it off right there. He throws an absolute cannon to R.J. Soward for that touchdown. The free safety, Matt McKnight, thought he had a beat on it, and the ball just simply beat him to the receiver. They just do a nice little slide protection here, does the front seven. You see them all just slide to the left. Cut down their defenders. Give Michael Bishop a throwing lane, then like I said, he just throws an absolute dart. Good tiptoe there into the end zone by R.J. Soward.
Soward becomes the 4th different Argonaut to score a touchdown this night. We mentioned Matt McKnight's name in that first half. He's at safety because Wes Lysick's been traded to Winnipeg.
Yeah, getting a chance to play. Doesn't have a lot of experience. You see him come underneath it there. He thought he had a chance to make a play, underestimated the power of the football that Michael Bishop put on it.
Now that's talent right there.
Well, R.J. Howard scored a lot of touchdowns in his life, starting probably when he was a little kid. I'm sure he's been working on that move for decades.
That's the 5th touchdown this year for R.J. Howard as Matt Dunnigan wonders what to do now. His team trailing by 25 points.
This is a situation they've been in all year long. We highlighted earlier that they've been a one-dimensional offense. They've had to throw the ball so often. Well, this is why. Here they are down 25 with an entire half left to play. So they want to get back in this football game, but the way they have to do it is by airing the ball out. Problem is, Toronto knows that as well.
The Argonauts have scored a touchdown in 3 of their last 4 possessions. So things go from bad to worse for the Stampeders as Prefontaine will kick it away. Here comes Ronnie Jenkins. Is there a big play in store? No. So says Chuck Walsh. That's a 21-yard return. Now, things haven't exactly improved over the years. They won the Grey Cup in 2001 with an 8-10 record, but lost Wally Buono. Jim Barker coached them to a 5-13 record. Things aren't looking good this year.
It's been tough for Calgary. They were certainly the team of the 90s, had so much success with their mainstays, Flutie and Hunges and Pitts. They really haven't been able to gain their footing since the turn of the century there, and that's why they got Matt Dunnigan here.
Souza will run it. Michael O'Shea is right on his rear end. Michael Fletcher lays a pad into him as well. Now, luckily, because they won their 3rd game last week, the Stampeders will not match the efforts of the 76 team. I'll tell you about that momentarily.
Look at Mike O'Shea, just spying the quarterback and then shows a nice burst to go and run down. He's trying to get a hand on the quarterback there. Mike O'Shea's been in this league a long time, but boy, he can still play some football. A quiet leader. Just brings his lunch pail to work every single day and makes play after play.
2nd and 4. Souza with the handoff. Joffrey Reynolds has it. The 1976 Calgary Stampeders won just 2 games. They had some decent players, Lloyd Fairbanks, John Helton, and their top rookie that year was none other than Tom Higgins, now head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, here's an interesting decision for Matt Dunnigan. They're down 25 points and they need a half a yard for a first down, it looks like. I would have to believe that in order to instill some confidence in your offense, you got to try to go for this if you have a yard or less. A 1.5 feet. They're sending Mike Souza back on the field, so it looks like they will go for it. Keep in mind, you get the yard separation between the line of scrimmage and the defensive front. And you can make the assumption that it's an easy yard to pick up. Not always the case.
And perhaps getting a first down out of this play will pump a little adrenaline into the veins of those playing for the Stampeders. You saw the distance. Does Souza get there? Questionable. He had problems with this at the end of the game against BC on Friday.
This is inexperience. There's a bit of an art to even picking up 1 yard on the quarterback sack. They're going to jam up the middle. You know that. Your center's not going to get anywhere. So what you have to do as a quarterback is you have to come away from the center, wait a half a count to let the mess create, and then you find the seam. There's going to be a little bit of a gap on one side of the center or the other, and you have to just dive through that. If you try to run up your center's back, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's kind of what Michael Souza's doing here.
This will be close. Ooh, what's the call there?
Oh, Jake. Jake's happy to be back. Yeah, he's in a good mood. He's been ill, and we're glad he's back and feeling good, but that's 2 generous calls from Jake. I can tell you, I have a long history with Jake, and he's never been that nice to me.
They got a somewhat generous call on the final play last week as we take another look. Scott Reginbald, who's now with the Bombers, was saying before last week's game, they don't practice goal line at all over the course of the season. Matt Dunnigan denied it, but the players say we don't work on short yardage in practice. As Souza goes to the air, given new life, Mike Jew has the reception, but there is a flag, and it looks like Clifford Ivory will be called on a face mask.
Mike Souza needed that terribly. Just needed to go back, complete a pass.
Major foul, face mask, Toronto number 13, first down.
Nice pitch and catch there from Michael Souza. Just got back, set his feet, threw a nice ball. Juhas went up and made a nice grab for him, and then got an extra 15 because of the face mask. Finally, Calgary has been able to sustain an offensive drive and, if nothing else, keep their defense off the football field.
Ivory had a 33-yard interception return for a touchdown last week in Edmonton. Some would say a somewhat surprising victory for the Argonauts, their 7th of the year. As on 1st and 10, Mr. Souza sends 4 receivers to the right side, top of your screen. Pressure is on. He'll lift one towards the end zone. Denny Montana had a step on the defender, but can't get to the ball.
That was actually a well-thrown ball by Souza. That's what that is a lack of experience, or maybe just time working with his receivers there with Denny Montana. Denny Montana made a nice move. It was kind of a double move where he sold it in and then busted outside. He had the defender beat. Souza throws it over his outside shoulder. Denny Montana's looking to the inside, expecting the ball there. That's just not enough time to work together since Souza's only had a couple days to get ready.
So that means 2nd and 10. From the Toronto 34. The rush is on. Souza unloads. And he goes to Mike Juhas. He'll get the first down for Calgary and a little more. Orlando Steinauer and Mike O'Shea will combine to put him down.
Boy, Mike Juhas is playing a heck of a football game. Just runs a nice little settle route here outside and then just sticks his feet. The defender's kind of over pursue and he just comes back inside of him. You see that? He's over there, just makes a nice stick, comes back inside and picks up the yards for the first down. Toronto had just settled back and was trying to keep him in front of the sticks, but when you do that, you have to come up and make the tackle.
Backfield is empty. Souza will go to the air. Over the middle. Pulled in, and it's Lewis with the reception. He's inside the 5. Nicholas Lewis coming up big.
Michael Souza makes an interesting decision here. He had another receiver wide open in the end zone that he decided to pass by. It makes the more difficult throw to Nick Lewis, but Nick Lewis does a good job of securing the catch. Actually throws it in a good spot there, high and away from the defender. Nick Lewis, nice hands to go up and snare it out of the air.
The rookie out of Southern Arkansas is Calgary's top receiver this year. Mind you, they have lost Albert Connell to injury. This is the 8th play of the drive, and there's the give up the middle. Touchdown, Calgary. Joffrey Reynolds.
That shows a lot of character about this football team in Calgary. They come out in the second half. Lightning strikes them again. They're down by 25 points, but they put together a sustained drive and come down and get a touchdown of their own. It's just coming right at you. You see the front line. They're just pushing the defensive lineman back. Nice block on O'Shea there. Clears the way for Joffrey Reynolds.
That's his first CFL touchdown. Andre Rison has his first major in the CFL this night as well. Clinton Greathouse, born and raised in New Mexico with the single point. So, Calgary can be encouraged. They still trail though.
Let's go, I'm ready.
Inside the dome in Toronto, Joffrey Reynolds with his first CFL touchdown. An 8-play, 73-yard drive for the Stampeders. As Greathouse kicks it away, Harlan Bruce III taking it at the 15. He'll pick up some decent yardage here. Still on his feet. And finally wrestled by Joey Bozé.
Well, Calgary's defense is going to have to come out now and make a stand. The offense did their job, came down, got some points on the board. They've got themselves back in this football game. It's going to be very important for the defense to stand up, make a few good plays here, get the ball back for their offense so they can build on that momentum.
Bishop has thrown 3 touchdown passes in this game. That doubles his output for the season. The pressure is on. He'll loft it to John Avery. And Avery will get to center field.
Good play design, and Michael Bishop does a nice job of selling it, being patient allowing it to develop. You see here, it's a little half roll to the right. Jonathan Avery fakes the block on Demetrius Maxey and then just settles back and gets the ball. And then shows some nifty footwork to pick up the first down.
Avery's coming off knee surgery in the offseason, credited for his slow start to the year. Play action, stepping up, and trouble. Down on his backside is Michael Bishop, courtesy Scott Coe. That's the 4th sack this day for the Stampeders.
I like the pressure that they bring on this play. It's been proven all game long. Whenever Calgary brings the extra man and tries to get some pressure on Michael Bishop, they've either gotten there or disrupted his timing. And in this case, they do it again. Garrett Smith does a good job of forcing the corner, making him pull up so Scott Coe can come from the back end and get the sack.
Make it 4 sacks for Mr. Coe this year, the ex-Hamilton Tiger Cat. Make it 2nd and 16 for the Argos. Bishop with the gun, intended for Robert Baker, but it went right through his hands.
Boy, Robert Baker did a fabulous job of recognizing the coverage. He saw it was zone and he settled right into the void of it. Michael Bishop delivered a strike. He just got to make that catch. Nice little hard slide right here. Just get on a bit of a roll. Michael Bishop pulls up and delivers a strike. A little bit high, but that's a catchable football. Robert Baker has to make that play for his quarterback.
Here comes Prefontaine again. He's averaged 46 yards on 6 punts. Wayne McGarity awaits. And Prefontaine with a nice boot. He'll angle it towards the corner. McGarity picking it up at the 10, heading for some traffic. He slips and is dropped down by Michael O'Shea, a 51-yard boot and a 9-yard return. Things are getting cozy down on the field. A flag is down. We'll address it when we continue on Rogers Sportsnet. And Blue Jays shortstop Chris Woodward will join me in studio. Oh, trouble, Michael Souza, but he gets out of it. Chased by Kevin Ivan and Michael O'Shea, and finally hits Michael Juhas wide open at the 33. How to make something out of nothing.
Great play by Michael Souza. First of all, he escapes a sure-beat tackle there, and then when he's on the run, I think he sees Juhas and isn't quite sure if he's allowed to throw him the ball because so much has taken place. He ends up doing it and picking up a first down. Look here comes Eric Englund, has him all wrapped up. Good job to escape there. Now he's getting ready to run, and all of a sudden he sees his receiver there, puts it in his hands and makes a great play. Nice job there by Mike Souza.
Juhas now has 108 yards receiving. He's gone over the 100-yard mark for the first time this year. They'll fake and give to Jenkins. He'll go up the middle.
Nice cutback there by Jenkins. Shows some great footwork. He has a little more flash than Joffrey does, but he comes in and does a nice play there where the play is taken away right away. Makes a nice little stutter step, cuts back and picks up some positive yards. See Michael O'Shea, he reads it, comes up to make the play. Nice power as well to go with that speed for Jenkins.
Jenkins will stay in the backfield, and they'll give it to him one more time, but oh, look who's there. Kenny Wheaton will set him back for a loss.
No chance on that play. Kenny Wheaton just pierces through, makes a great tackle in the backfield. You see all the men on the line of scrimmage, and there's Kenny Wheaton, just comes in untouched. That's a situation. 2 men off the wide side, and Wheaton came off the short side untouched. They just brought way too many people. Cowboy didn't have enough bodies to block them all.
If Wheaton didn't get him, Kevin Ivan would have. Greathouse, who was cut by the Baltimore Ravens this year, punts it away. And there's Bashar Livingston, but it bounces back and away. Finally, Michael Fletcher picks it up, flags everywhere, and we'll sort this mess out when we continue. The Argos have a comfy lead. Ball league. And with the amount of money his father makes, that could be a good thing. Troy needs some support, son. Back on Rogers Sportsnet. Jamie Campbell, Grant Carter, and Jim Lang are happy to have you for this broadcast. It's the Argonauts and the Stampeders. It's Michael Bishop handing it off to Jonathan Avery. Demetrius Maxey gets in there and prevents Avery from going very far. We saw on that punt by Clinton Greathouse how it benefits you to know the Canadian game. He's an American and could have recovered that ball.
Well, here's a kid that grew up in New Mexico, played his college football at Texas Tech. He saw the short punt, but when it hit the ground, it bounced straight back at him. You know, in the Canadian Football League, the punter is allowed to run down and recover that and regain position for his own team. I'm not sure that Clinton Greathouse knows that rule. Could have taken advantage of that situation right there.
The blitz is on. Cole gets to Bishop. Sauer can't pull it in. And as a result, the Argonauts will boot it away.
R.J. Sauer runs a pretty good route here. Just needs to finish the play. Looking to burst off the line of scrimmage. Look at the separation. Nice speed cut. Ball just goes right into his hands and out. He was hearing some footsteps, but really had created some nice separation for himself. He'll be mad at himself on that one.
So here comes Prefontaine one more time. His longest this day, a 51-yard kick, as Wayne McGarity awaits the ball. 4 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the third quarter of play. Pressure is on, but Prefontaine will get it away towards the corner. No yards on the Argonauts. Chris Hardy will take down McGarity.
And to watch your brothers in arms go through this battle in Toronto.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I just got in a few days ago, so I'm still learning everything. But it's always tough when you can't get out there and help your team out. So I'm just looking forward to learning what I need to learn and then being ready for next game.
Stampeder fans and fans all over the CFL want to know when you're going to be able to get back to action.
The next game that the Stampeders play on the 16th against these same Argonauts, I'll be ready to go on that one, and I'll be learned everything and be right.
Kahari Jones, welcome to Calgary. Thanks for doing this. Back upstairs, guys.
Thank you, Jim. The Argonauts will actually play another game before that one for the Stampeders, who will have some time off. The Argos will face the BC Lions here at Sky Dome before heading for Calgary to face Kahari Jones and the Stampeders. 2nd and 8, and over the middle, intended for either Denny Montana or Andre Arlane, depending on who was in front of the football.
Another illustration of the fact that Michael Souza hasn't had very long to work with his receiving corps. You know, typically, Marcus Crandall was getting all the reps in practice. He got hurt last week. Michael Souza went in, kind of flew by the seat of his pants. Because it was a short week, he really only had 1 or 2 days to get an opportunity to get some timing with his receivers. We've seen a couple instances tonight where because of that, he's been a little offside.
Perhaps special teams coach Trey Junkin has told Clinton Greathouse to get downfield on this punt, and it's a big one to Bashar Livingston at the 28. Oh, he'll go nowhere.
Bashar Livingston with the return.
There's Trey Junkin, who played many years in the NFL, but will be remembered for this. It's the 2002 NFC wildcard game. With 15 seconds to go and the Giants down by 1, his botched snap on a Matt Bryant field goal attempt allowed the 49ers to win the game. Jenkins never played another pro football game. 19 years he played in the NFL, but this was his last. As the Argos go to work, Andre Rison with the catch. He has a touchdown in the first half of play, and Jenkins was the subject of our panel. Marty York suggesting that perhaps his acidic ways with the members of this team have not been very popular.
I think the challenge is with Trey Junkin. He certainly brings a passion to the game and an experience of football in general, but it's all in the NFL. When you're a special teams coach in particular in the Canadian Football League, the subtleties and the differences between the two leagues are more pronounced because of the rules around the kicking game. And there's been some question marks as to his knowledge and how he can prepare the special teams of the Calgary Stampeders.
Rolling out his Bishop, running from trouble, throwing it in the direction of Rison, but it's incomplete. Milo Lewis is there on the coverage. I was at training camp with the Stampeders, and judging by some of the things coming out of Trey Junkin's mouth, you didn't want small children around. He's an intense individual.
Well, he absolutely is. He's an old warrior. You know, he played in the league, like you said, 19 years. He's kind of a throwback. He brings a passion and a way of communication that's maybe a little less than polished. But you can't fault his commitment. He certainly tried to work hard, and Matt Dunnigan brought him in here and has put him to work, and I'm sure he's learning as he's going along.
He does not apparently like our cameras either. As McGarity will take another punt from Prefontaine, a good snap. And a bit of a wobbly boot at the 34 is McGarity, running away from trouble, stiff-arming one opponent, but Mike Crum catches up to him and pushes him out at the 45. A 36-yard kick and a 9-yard return.
Interesting thing happened on that return right there. Kevin Ivan had him dialed in. He was about 5 yards in front of him when he caught the ball. It was going to be a one-on-one tackle. As soon as McGarity made one little step, Kevin Ivan was expecting to be ear-holed by a blocker. He's a guy who's been around long enough to know how the special teams usually works. He took one little peek, and just that little misstep and peek gave McGarry enough time to get around the corner on him.
The Stampeders have had 15 possessions tonight, but 9 of them have gone 2 and out. We'll see what Michael Souza does here. He will go to the air, and he'll get to the backfield in Joffrey Reynolds, who drops the ball.
Good decision by Michael Souza there. Put the ball on the money. His running back in this instance, Joffrey Reynolds, needs to make that catch. Far too often they've been left in second and long situations. That's tough for the best of offenses. But when you have a young quarterback and young running backs, people that haven't played in this league very long, that's creating an even larger hurdle to overcome.
They'll try it again from 2nd and 10. Souza, the pressure is on from the corner. He'll run it. He's got a ways to go. Wrapped up by Noah Cantor. And once again, a 2 and out. That would be the 10th of the game for the Stampeders.
Michael Souza is a very active quarterback, a great athlete, and he's used to being able to use his legs to make big plays. I don't think he's accustomed to the speed of this football game. The defensive lineman, for instance, Noah Cantor on that play, tracking him down from behind, hustling 15, 20 yards to make a play. That's not something he's used to playing football.
Matt Dunnigan is the 4th all-time leader in passing yards in the Canadian Football League. Number 1 in that category, standing on the sidelines in Damon Allen. As Greathouse angles it well into row 3 of section 41 here at the Sky Dome. Someone will go home with a souvenir. Michael Souza in his first start in the Canadian Football League. At times he's been brilliant. That coming in the second quarter, but at times he's looked like a rookie.
This is a hard league as a quarterback to come in as a young player and have a lot of success. The biggest difference for a quarterback between the CFL and the American game, be it the NFL, college, high school, what have you, is getting used to that extra player on the football field. Okay, all your career as a quarterback, you're taught certain pattern reads. Safety to linebacker, linebacker to cornerback, and you get an in-depth understanding that if you see a corner or a safety react in a certain way, you should know where the openings are. Because of the extra defensive back, in CFL it's called a halfback, on the football field, all those rules have to be relearned. And so many times when you have young American quarterbacks that come up here and they try to apply their inherent understanding of the game and they go to make a throw because they see a linebacker vacate a zone, they expect the receiver to be wide open, the halfback standing right there. They just throw it right to him. And then they look over and they say, where'd that guy come from? So there's just some subtleties, that as well as the angles. The angles are so different because the hash marks are farther apart and the field is so much wider that even standard routes, 1 route, 2 route, these are on the route tree that may be the same as the routes you've thrown your whole life. The distance and the angles that you're used to throwing those are totally different. And as a result, you end up overthrowing him or throwing him behind your receiver. So these are all the things that a young quarterback has to go through, the growing pains. And Michael Souza's no different. He's learning that tonight.
The delay caused by an injury to Joey Bonaventura, the rookie out of St. Mary's in Halifax. He pulled off a blocked punt in our first game this year when the Stampeders beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Taylor Field. That led to a Milo Lewis touchdown. Double tight ends is the formation for the Argonauts, and you would expect the run, and that's what you get from John Avery, who puts his head down in frustration. I think he thinks he could have got further.
He does, and I really like this double tight end formation for Toronto. They're trying this out for the first time. They've got Mike Mihalik back. He's been injured, had some challenges with a torn quad initially. That resulted in some foot problems because he was compensating when he was trying to get back. they've got him healthy, and they're trying to find a way to get him in the lineup. And what they've come up with is this two tight end set. Boy, has it been effective tonight.
Mihalik brought over from Hamilton in the Marcus Brady trade earlier this year. Oh, pressure is on, and Bishop will throw it away. He had Andre Talbot running down the sidelines, but nothing doing. That's the end of the third quarter. The Argos lead 35-17.
Conclusion of this game, because time permitting, myself, Marty York, and Dwayne Ford will be along for a post-game show that is time permitting. 35-17, Toronto leading it after 3 quarters. Fourth quarter on the way, and for that, we throw it back to the booth with Jamie Campbell and Grant Carter. Guys.
The band is playing, and they're happy to know that the Argonauts lead after 3 quarters of play. Prefontaine to McGarity at the 22. Oh my, he's still on his feet. Shrochenski is there. Randy Shrochenski, the long snapper and special teams player. There is a flag down after 3 quarters. Hey, look at how possession favors the Stampeders, but the scoreboard doesn't.
Well, total yards is in favor of the Stampeders. Time of possession is in favor of the Stampeders. The turnovers are not. And of those 6 turnovers, the Toronto has resulted in 21 points. That's the difference in the football game right now.
Stand by for our Rogers Wireless player of the game and the big play of the game coming to you before the end of this quarter, obviously. 14:45 to go in the match. With a victory, the Argonauts will improve to 8-5-1. They need to win 3 of their last 5 to guarantee themselves second place in a home playoff game. The Montreal Alouettes, of course, are running away with the East. The West is a little wide open now with the improvement of both Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Here's the call from Jake Ireland.
Well, this is going to be offsides on Calgary. That could result into a first down. Nope, excuse me. Offsides on Toronto. So Calgary now has the option of having them re-kick it or just taking the football.
Toronto number 50, decline, first down.
So they'll just decline the penalty and take the football at the point of spot.
Mike O'Shea is wondering, why me?
Mike O'Shea was being a bit of a cagey veteran on that play, and I saw him. He's the up back, so he's the one that's responsible for passing along the cages to the long snapper to let him know when to get it to the punter. And he was acting a bit like a quarterback there with a hard count, trying to draw Calgary offsides with their punt return team. I think that he almost did it, but as a result, they might have got him with a bit of a head bob or something, resulting in the illegal formation, or excuse me, the offsides on Toronto.
The clock ticks early in the fourth quarter. Michael Souza sets, and there's the handoff inside to Jenkins.
Calgary's really established himself with a nice pair of running backs here. Different styles between Joffrey Reynolds and Ronnie Jenkins. See the blocking here. The big hogs up front just getting a great push. There you have McNeil on Mike O'Shea, just pushing him out of the way, and then Jenkins has enough speed to just shoot through the gap, pick up a nice gain. Now, for the first time in a long time, Calgary has second and short. Let's see what they can do with this.
The give, once again to Jenkins. He'll climb over a pile in search of that first down. Why do they use 2 backs in different sets?
First of all, I believe that Joffrey Reynolds is their main running back. They really brought Jenkins here to be a returner, so they don't want to overuse him because you run the risk of injuring him, and not being able to have him for your returns. But it is the contrast, and I believe that Reynolds is a little bit better of a hard runner, straight ahead, can get you those tough yards. Jenkins is a little shiftier. I think he's a bit of a better receiver out of the backfield. So it's going to be up to Matt Dunnigan and his staff to figure out how to use both of them and keep the defenses off balance.
They'll get the first down there as Souza drops back, moves into the pocket, looks deep. He's got Juhas, but he's overthrown. We've seen that once or twice this night. Juhas had both his defenders beaten.
I love the decision by Mike Souza. He had plenty of time. He really surveyed the field, recognized that the short routes were taken away, and that the offensive line had done such a good job of giving him the time to look at everything. And boy, he had Juhas on this. He really did. He had broken in behind the defenders. You see that there. Puts it on target. They got 6, and God, he wants that one back right there. He's been just a hair off most of the night on some of those long routes. And again, that comes from just not having a chance to work with your receiving corps.
4 receivers to the top of your screen, but it'll go to Sanford inside. It's blocked in front by Michael Fletcher. A strong defensive effort from Fletcher, and Calgary will kick it off.
Michael Fletcher is such a smart football player. He's been around long enough to know he knows exactly what's coming. He saw the formation. Look at him. He's just waiting, and he's trying to get himself an interception. He saw that play coming a mile away because he saw that they had one-on-one coverage on the short side, knew immediately that's the only option that Michael Souza had, and he was trying to get an interception for himself. Good play, Michael Fletcher.
We talk about the running game. The Stampeders recently released their leading rusher, Victor Ike. And when I say leading rusher, I say that with tongue-in-cheek. He had 245 yards. That ranked him 15th in the league. Under John Jenkins, the now ex-offensive coordinator, they did not like to run the ball.
The CFL, I know this is a passing league, will always be a passing league, but if you cannot run the football, you will not have success.
Great house with a decent boot. Livingston at the 25, moves laterally and then forward. Look out, no flags, and he's on his way. Bill Chamberlain is down. He was rocked by Orlando Steinauer.
You heard me mention it a few minutes ago where Kevin Ivan took that little peek because he expected to get ear hold on that punt. Well, let me show you what happens right here. This is what he was looking out for. Watch out. Oh, you barely see it in the bottom of the screen there, but there was a knockout shot. And look at the speed down the sideline by Levingston. I believe that sets a new Argonaut record.
It certainly does. With that,
here's Chamberlain.
Livingston. Before we talk about that, Bill Chamberlain. That's a big hit.
That's a tough life for the long snapper. One-on-one in open field. When you've got a veteran like Steinauer, he lined that up for about 30 yards.
But here's the note on Livingston. He has now returned 9 kicks for a touchdown, and that includes punt returns, kickoff returns, and missed field goals. That sets a new Argonaut record, an all-time record formerly held in conjunction with Pinball Clemens, his coach. In his very brief career, Bashar Livingston has returned 9 kicks for touchdowns. It took Pinball Clemens over 10 years to do it. It took Bashar Livingston about 3. So we'll take a break and come back as the Argonauts on August 8th here at Sky Dome. Tonight, 42 points, and a lot of that due to special teams.
Special teams play such a huge role in every football game, and you have to know that a team coached by Pinball Clemens is certainly going to put a lot of emphasis into it. And boy, Toronto's just been blessed with such a double weapon on special teams. Early in the season, it was Bashar Livingston with the lightning bolt scoring touchdowns on punt returns and kickoff returns. He gets injured. Arlen Bruce comes in, picks right up where he left off, goes for a couple long touchdowns on returns, gets named Special Teams Player of the Week, and insert Bashar Livingston again, and he picks up right where he left off earlier in the season. Big punt return for a touchdown, and boy, special teams is an absolute weapon for the Argonauts.
There's the squib from Prefontaine, taken by Randy Bowles in his first game with the Stampeders. For the 6th time this year, the Stampeders have allowed more than 40 points in a game. The Argonauts are an interesting case, and especially the relationship between head coach Mike Clemens and Bashar Livingston. He was criticized early in the season for trying to freelance too much, but he says, I will let him freelance as long as he does the kind of things we've seen him do tonight.
Mike Clemens referred to the relationship as a bit of a sibling relationship, but the one thing he highlighted is that he knows even when Bashar Livingston makes an unwise decision, he's doing it going 100 miles an hour at 110%. He'll take his chances with that kind of effort from his young star.
Bashar Livingston, as we watch Reynolds take the handoff from Souza, has set a new Argonaut record. 9 kick returns for a touchdown in his brief Argonaut career, ending a tie he enjoyed with head coach Mike Pinball Clemens. And this, I might add, is his first game back from injury, so a welcome return for Bashar Livingston. 2nd and 3 after the carry by Reynolds. He'll take it again, looking for the first down, but won't get it. He'll be close.
Good play there by Mike O'Shea of closing the hole. Offensive line did a nice job of giving the running back a chance. There was some daylight in there, but Mike O'Shea just beat him to the punch. Closed the gap in a hurry, and I believe it's forced him into a 3rd down situation.
The Argos play a 3-4 defense and have been very good all year. Ranked number 2 in the league and giving up just 17.5 points on average. And well, they've given up 17 to Calgary this night.
Toronto has so many weapons on defense. They have great athletes in the secondary and in the linebacking core. And then the strong guys up front that can win one-on-one battles. And then if you add Rich Stubler's effect to that, Rich Stubler being the defensive coordinator for the Toronto Argonauts is a genius at schemes on defense and creating matchups that work to his team's advantage. All those things combined have created the defensive monster that you see for the Argonauts.
Pushing ahead on 3rd and 1 will be Souza, and it looks like he will get it. Last week he gave off to Scott Reginbald. You and I watched the game. I know I've had laser surgery. It didn't look like he got in, but maybe the league was giving Calgary a bit of a gift.
Yeah, hard to say, but that's a week ago. And we talked earlier about learning the fine art of a quarterback sneak. And the first time around, Michael Souza went right up the back of his center and got nowhere. This time he realizes he could find a little more air on the outside, does so, and picks up the first down.
Souza, of course, is in because Marcus Crandall injured his hand on the helmet of Carl Kidd. They'll fake the handoff and throw it out to Wayne McGarity. Clifford Ivory is right there. McGarity goes nowhere.
Great closing speed by Ivory. He recognized the play in a hurry. It was a long pass. The ball was in the air for a long time. And that gave Ivory a chance to get a beat on it and come up and make a sure tackle. Little play fake there. See how long the pass is. Somebody's got to be picking up Clifford Ivory. Somebody missed a blocking assignment there because one of the other receivers should be responsible for a kick-out block there, giving McGarry an opportunity to get up inside of it. He was nowhere to be seen.
A loss of 2, 2nd and 12. 4 receivers far side. That's where Souza looks. Pass hits the ground, incomplete. Mike Jew has the intended receiver.
Michael Souza's had a long night. He's made some nice decisions. He's made some very poor decisions. That was one of the plays we saw them running early in the first half where he was just taking the easy pass and was having a pretty good time completing them. That situation, he looked off the easy pass, tried to make a hard one, and ended up throwing it in the dirt. I think that's what Matt Dunnigan's telling him right now. Go back to what you were doing early. Just take the easy one, make your reads, deliver the ball.
Bashar Livingston must be tired because here comes Adrian Smith to take the Great House punt, but he won't be taking anything because it's way out of bounds. Going out at about the 20. So we'll take a break. The Argos will bring their powerful offense back to Skydome. Columbia, you say you want to be a special teams player. He was the cause of that bad snap, which resulted in a blocked kick. And then he has to deal with Gabe Robinson trying to get downfield. And here came the worst of it, courtesy Orlando Steinauer. Whoa!
Got to have your head on a swivel in this league. There's a lot of headhunters out on that field, especially guys like Steinauer that made a living doing that for a long time.
There's the handoff, John Avery. He won't go very far. John Grace is there to make the stop. Chamberlain, if you can believe it, played with Sportsnet's Vancouver-based reporter Scott Rintoul at UBC, and I say, if you can believe it, because if you've ever seen Scott Rintoul, he's not that big. He doesn't look like a football player.
Well, Bill Chamberlain's a good young player, and he brings a valid skill to this team, and that's long snapping. It's an underappreciated talent, very, very hard to do, and he'll have a good career in the CFL, but he's learning some hard lessons here today.
The Shermanator's going to get me for that one. They'll give it again to Avery. He's really put in a workman's effort this night. He'll get close to the first down marker. Now, as this game gets a little out of hand from a scoring perspective, and we talked to Matt Dunnigan about this yesterday, Would it be a good PR move to bring the Canadian quarterback in, Tommy Dennison? He says his allegiance is to the first and second string guy. How would Tommy Jones feel if Tommy Dennison got a few snaps this night?
No, you'll never play Tommy Dennison. I mean, he's way down there on the depth chart, if you will. He's only third, but he's a distant third. If there was going to be any changes made at all tonight by Matt Dunnigan, he would certainly put in Tommy Jones. But I think that we're going to see Dunnigan just let Souza kind of play out the game and learn from this experience.
Oh, look at Michael Bishop on third and short, but he drops the ball. It looks like Joey Bozay may have picked it up for the Stampeders.
What a shame, because for a minute there we had a flashback of a few years ago. Michael Bishop back in Kansas State University flying all over the football field. Those are the kind of skills that had him be the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy in the NCAA in the States. Let's just watch this guy be a phenomenal athlete. Everybody's expecting him to dive up the middle on the quarterback sneak, and he just takes off outside. And he shows some strength and some speed, but forgot to do one thing, hold on to the football. Nice play there by the defensive back coming in and stripping it out. Look at the hand right on the football there. Nice play by Terrence Moore, it looked like.
John Grace got there at the same time as Bozay and picks up the loose ball. So Souza going deep, going long, and overthrown is Nick Lewis.
Just a step away. Michael Souza throws a nice football. Comes in soft, he puts some air under it, gives his receivers a chance to run underneath it. Unfortunately, he's just been a step off. Anytime he's tried to throw the ball deeper than, say, 15 or 20 yards, he's just been a little bit long. He'll get that under control. The more chances he has to work with those receivers and work on some timing and the way their routes develop, you'll see his completion rating go way up on those passes.
Here's Souza. Looking long one more time. Looking at Montana, and it ends up in the arms of Mike Juhas. It touched two Argos and finally ended up in the arms of a Stampeder. Wow, that was lucky.
Well, there's lots of ways to complete a pass. You can throw it right to your guy, or you can just, throw it off a couple defenders. Juhas has played a heck of a football game tonight. I don't think he expected to catch any balls like this. He runs a little smash route. He's taken away initially. But watch him. He just keeps going towards the football. Gets deflected a couple times, and he's right there to make the reception.
Bonner and Smith were there. Juhas adds to his impressive statistics. There's the give. Reynolds has it. Oh, stacked up it. What a load. Kevin Iben.
Active linebackers. Wow. Boy, I mean, they just fly around. Yeah. I mean, those linebackers for Toronto just fly around. They love to hit. They love to get involved. Every one of them thinks they're going to be the one to make the big play on any given play. And I know they have a little contest going in the locker room about who's going to be the biggest difference maker in the game.
Stamps go to the no huddle and quickly out to the sidelines. Andre Arlane. He's out at the center field marker.
Pass complete to number 88.
Arlane has but one touchdown in his CFL career. It came from Dave Dickinson back in the 2000 season against the BC Lions. This is his 7th year in the CFL.
Big play here for Calgary. Third down, about 1.5. It's not a gimme here on the quarterback sneak. They're going to have to earn this to keep the ball.
Jenkins has it, and he has the first down. Calgary's last 10 possessions. They've punted it away 7 times. They've turned it over twice, and they've scored 1 touchdown. They'll continue here after that carry.
Nice push there by the right side of the offensive line. Robinson, Pylon, Jamie Crosdale doing a good job of just moving their legs, pushing the line of scrimmage back, and giving Jenkins a chance to fall forward for the first down.
And the Stamps continue with the no huddle. Here comes the blitz from the outside. Nick Lewis has it, and Orlando Steinauer promptly belts him.
Orlando Steinauer showed that he likes to lay the wood when he knocked out Carmichael a little while ago, or excuse me, Chamberlain a little while ago. Now he comes up and lays some more wood on Nick Lewis. Just times this up. Watch this sure tackle. Boom. Drives his legs, pushes right through it. That's textbook.
Under 5 minutes to go, so the Stampeders continue to work quickly. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Juhas has it and then drops it. Antonius Bonner with the coverage. And you mentioned the offensive line. They've played effectively tonight for the Stampeders. The right tackle, Jeff Pilon, asked me to say hello to his grandfather, Robert Sutherland. in the Ottawa area. 2 Pilon brothers in the CFL. His brother Mark plays for the BC Lions. They're going to go for it here on 3rd and 7, and why not? You're down by a bunch, under 5 minutes to go.
Let's see somebody make a play. I mean, that's what Matt Dunnigan wants. He's looking for somebody to rise up, make a big play for his team. You got nothing to lose here.
Blitz is on, give some reps, to the quarterback, and have him chased by Kevin Ivan. When you've got Ivan on your rear end, you get it away in a hurry. So the Argonauts will take it over on downs after this break on Rogers Sportsnet. The beauty of 4 regions. Michael Clemens will be happy as the Argonauts appear on their way to an 8th win this season. They'll give to John Avery. He'll get close to the 50. Michael Bishop has been impressive this night, going 10 of 19 for 158 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it looks like he'll be out of the game. He is our player of the game, brought to you by Rogers Wireless. More of what's important to you. So a fine effort by Michael Bishop, who will probably lose his starting job to Damon Allen in the next game. Here comes Romero Miller, who I might add was cut by the Stampeders in training camp. Pump fake, pressure is on. He'll give it back to Avery. Bit of a broken play, and Avery's going to make something of it. Look at this. Nate Terry is there. Milo Lewis will put him to the turf. And there is a flag down behind the line of scrimmage.
Crazy play there. Romero Miller just kind of dumps the ball off, almost like a late toss pitch. John Avery does a good job of just scrambling around and finally just goes down and preserve it. I think there'll be a penalty tacked onto this for Toronto as well. See the pump fake there. He's looking for a big play down the field. You see Scott Coe delivering a blow there.
Decline, 3rd down.
Toronto will punt it away. You know, you highlighted the numbers for Michael Bishop, who is our player of the game. And nice night, 158 yards, 3 touchdowns. But let me tell you what stands up to me, no interceptions.
Yes.
No interceptions. We showed his ratio earlier in the game. It was horrible. Played a smart game tonight and didn't hurt his football team.
Coming into this game, Bishop had thrown 3 touchdown passes, but been intercepted 11 times. So this is the kind of game he needed to prove that he's capable of replacing Damon Allen if the opportunity presents itself.
Well, and it all goes to establishing that running game. The last 2 weeks, they've played very well as an offense. What's the common denominators? John Avery running the football well and taking that pressure off of Michael Bishop so that he doesn't feel like he has to make heroic plays all night long.
So Miller will come in, assuming the Argos get it back. We'll talk about that after we take this short break. Toronto's in command.
On Rogers Sportsnet, brought to you by Rogers Wireless.
The moon over Toronto on a night where Andre Bad Moon Rison has his first CFL touchdown coming from Michael Bishop, who's on the verge of leading his Toronto Argonauts to their 8th win of the year and a victory over the Calgary Stampeders. The Stamps will drop to 3-12 overall. They'll have 3 games remaining at home against the Argonauts and then road games against BC and Winnipeg. Shovel pass ineffective for Souza as he tries to hit Ronnie Jenkins.
They've run that play a few times tonight. It's just a little underhanded shovel. We call that the PE play. Somebody probably made that play up once in PE class. It's just a little misdirection, but you know, it's one of those plays where you can run it once, maybe twice a game because you're trying to catch the defense pursuing a little too quickly. They've run it enough times now, or in that case, Eric England just smelled it out way in advance and just ruined the play from the get-go.
2nd and 10 from the 28. Going to the short side, pump fake, and Souza's in the air to Salucio Sanford, who comes down with it inbounds. A wonderful effort. The coverage by Raphael Ball, who's known as O-Ball to friends and family. He has an identical twin brother named Raphael too, but Raphael too spells his name with an E.
Well, we've seen many occasions tonight where Michael Souza's just been a little bit long with these passes. And his receivers have come up a little short. This time he throws an absolute strike to Salucio Sanford, who really has great concentration. The coverage was right there. Great ball, Nice catch. A little positive feedback there for Calgary, and here comes a little reverse again.
Yeah, they faked that play one more time and then go to the far side to Wayne McGarity. They showed the pitch but decided not to go to it. We're seeing some plays that are the same from the Stampeders over the course of this game. Is this what happens when your offensive coordinator is your head coach?
Well, this is what happens when your quarterback is in his first CFL start. The playbook that they're operating with is very narrow right now. They can't have too much in because they don't want to overwhelm the kid. So, what you have to choose from is pretty limited. And eventually, during the course of the game, you're going to have to repeat some plays.
Oh, my goodness, a flag down. The pass was intended for our lane. Raphael Ball was all over him. Now Ball is back in action. This is his first game of the season. He's been on the injured list all year.
Pass interference. Trial number 24. First down.
I like the way that Michael Souza's going deep and giving his team a chance to get some points. This is, you got nothing else to lose right now. Just throw it up there and let you guys go get it. You got a big play the play before. Now you got a pass interference. You got your team down there poised to score. Well done. And you got to build on things. Souza's come out and just had some courage here. Showed some character despite all his challenges tonight. He's got his team on the 1-yard line.
Ball in at corner for Jordan Younger. First and goal for the Stampeders. Reynolds with the touchdown. That's 2 for him this day.
Small victories. Small victories. You have a tough game tonight. So many things have gone wrong. They've shot themselves in the foot. They have 6 turnovers. But yet they found moments here to really execute some good plays. Great push here as he puts the ball in the stomach of Reynolds, and he just finds some opening and goes in for his second score of the day.
Give Reynolds the first 2 touchdowns of his CFL career. A rookie out of the University of Houston who made his Stampeder debut last Friday night against the BC Lions. Greathouse is through for the single point. So the advantage for the Argonauts now 42-24. 2 minutes to go in this game. Time for the play of the game brought to you by Bic. And we got to go back a ways. It's the pitch out to McGarity and then the touchdown pass to Mike Juhas. The lateral and McGarity comes through for a Stampeder touchdown. The play of the game is brought to you by Bic Comfort 3 Shavers, the right price for the right blade.
Well, there's one guy who's played a fantastic football game for the Stampeders, and that's Mike Juhas. This guy has battled all night long. He's played well on special teams, and boy, he's made some big catches for his offense. He's really been the shining light for the Calgary offense tonight. They haven't had a lot of them. They've shown enough positive things. I know Matt Dunnigan is frustrated, and he expected the challenges that he's seen tonight with Michael Souza. He spoke about it at halftime. You know you're going to get some of those bad decisions going in. Unfortunately for Calgary, they happened at the worst time possible. Late in the second quarter, backed up in their own end. Both of them bang, resulted in 14 points for Toronto. Really kind of, put this game out of reach for them. But they've seen some positive things, and they're going to get some things they can build on here as they go and watch the film. And they're going to have a week off to really work on some things and get Kahari Jones ready to play in a couple weeks.
And judging from the formation here, we're going to see an onside kick from Clinton Greathouse. The chopper, and it's recovered by Clifford Ivory. He's tackled by Bozé. Unsuccessful on that attempt. Special teams from the Stampeders. Juhas, by the way, you saw the numbers, 121 receiving yards. That's the first time this year he's gone over 100.
Great competitor. Runs nice routes, fierce. He'll get in there and make the tough catch for you. He'll block for you if you're another receiver. Never complains. Really is leading by example the way he's played his football game. You notice shaved head. That shows the kind of guy he is. We referenced earlier about what the guys have done for Jamie Crysdale. Well, you can bet he was probably the first in line. That's just a team guy and somebody that his teammates will rally around for sure.
Jeff Johnson will get some carries for the Argonauts now, subbing in for John Avery. And there is Mr. Johnson, who climbs his way to the 40 on the pitch from Romero Miller. Miller is in at quarterback. They'll give Michael Bishop a breather. And Miller was part of that huge trade in January involving the Renegades and the Stampeders. Going to the Stampeders, John Grace, Seth Dittman, and Mr. Miller. Ottawa picked up Anthony Malbrough, Kai Ellis, Sandro Shortino, and the second pick in the draft, which turned into Abi Khan. Pretty even deal. Romero, though, cut by the Stampeders in training camp. He's now second string in Toronto. Johnson has it again, but he's wrapped up by Sheldon Nepaschuk, the pride of North Battleford, Saskatchewan. And of course, North Battleford, Saskatchewan is the home of arguably the greatest running back Canada has ever seen in Ruben Mays, who was the 87 NFC Rookie of the Year with the New Orleans Saints.
Toronto's done a great job today of establishing really the complete package. You look at the game that they've played. Defensively, you knew they were going to come out and fly around. They were going to put a lot of pressure on the Calgary offense. They've done that. They've been tremendously opportunistic. 6 turnovers, which they've then turned into a lot of points. Then you have to look at the offense. Well played by Michael Bishop. Established the running game by John Avery. Keep it simple. Turned turnovers into points. That's what you ask of for your offense. And on special teams, Shar Livingston shows up with another punt return for a touchdown. Really a complete football game for the Toronto Argonauts. They've played 2 real good games in a row now. And they've got themselves in a great position as they go into the later stages of the season. Like you mentioned, if they keep on this roll, they're going to try to firmly establish themselves in second place in the Eastern Conference.
The big man yawning was Mike Mihalik. And of course, he's been in exclusively on double tight end sets tonight as he returns from injury. Trouble with the snap for Miller, but he'll pick it up and push forward for about 2. A look at the East standings, updated after a victory by the Argonauts tonight, and as we know about the Alouettes, they're walking away with the division, but 2 more victories for the Argonauts, and they can secure a home playoff date here at Skydome.
And that's important because coming into tonight, in their last 9 home games, they were 8-1. So you add tonight, now they're 9-1 in their last home football games. These guys love playing here, and they've got a nice advantage. If they can secure that home field advantage going into the playoffs, you've got to like their chances of getting through.
They'll give it to John Williams this time. So 3 different backs have carried for the Argonauts tonight. We joked at the beginning of the season that maybe for the first time in a long time, the crossover team might actually come from the East. But things have changed in the West, and now Winnipeg and Saskatchewan with 12 points each. Technically, the Saskatchewan Roughriders secure the crossover position at this time.
Well, they do, and the Western Conference is really starting to tighten up. If you look at the losses last week by both BC and Edmonton, the win by Saskatchewan, that Western Conference is going to be a race down to the wire. There's a lot of good football being played out there.
Hand off again, it's John Williams, and Twiggy's son looks good. Ooh, he's close to the 10. George White pushes him out of bounds.
Some great footwork there. Number 11, John Williams, just shows a great cut right out of the gate as he eludes a defender and then just jumps in. Here's the look from up close. You see it's a counter, the pulling guard there, and look at the cutback. Great eyes and vision. That play's designed to go way to the right. He sees the little crease there and takes it upon himself to cut back. There's some talent. And you see Avery on the bench. Look at this. He's rooting for his guy. Get in there. Came up a little short, but he's happy. That's a tight team when you got your running back crew rooting for each other. It just shows you got a lot of charisma on this team. Guys are battling hard, supporting one another. Look at the hugs there. I mean, these guys are working hard, and they feel good about themselves. They put together a nice show tonight.
Avery getting excited because John Williams has never scored a touchdown in the CFL, and he got awfully close there. We've seen that story in Saskatchewan. Everybody in Regina was so happy for Patrick Tebow on the weekend, making just his 2nd catch after 3 years. I can imagine what the town would do if he gets a touchdown before the season is up. But there's Avery yakking with Mr. Mihalik. Smiles all around where the Argonauts are concerned, and with good reason. They've looked excellent tonight. Is this it? John Williams in for the touchdown.
There it is. There it is. Nice cut again. Boy, this John Williams has got some great eyes. He hasn't got a chance to play much. They've got themselves a nice stable of running backs here in Toronto, and nobody was more excited for John Williams than John Avery. As we saw him, he was leaping up and down on the sideline as he was going into the end zone. Let's watch again the eyes and the cut. Search play to the left, pop, look at that little misstep, and then jump back to the right-hand side. And then just showing some nice elusiveness to get into the end zone. Look at the eyes. Boom. Hit the open hook. Yep. Joey Bozé right there to make the play. Came up empty. Great cut there, John Williams.
The first touchdown in his young career. I don't know, maybe it's to do with Rogers Sportsnet's commitment to the CFL. In our game that we broadcast here in July against the Ottawa Renegades, Michael Palmer scored his first touchdown. So
we bring out the best.
Andre Rison gets his first. Not that he hasn't scored a few in the NFL.
Hey, we bring out the best in these young players. They know they're on national television tonight. They want to make an impression. Well, they've done it. Well done.
They want to go balls away when I get out. Now they want to fight.
Rison has been quite vocal with respect to officiating in this league. And of course, there are different things and nuances that you have to learn when you come north of the border. But here's a man who has never really been afraid to say anything for that matter.
If he's thinking it, you're going to hear it. There's no question about that with Andre Rison. I think that
number 88, we have an objectionable conduct. Calgary number 25, we'll apply them all on the convert. We'll play the convert from the 2.5-yard line.
Robert Baker and Milo Lewis with the objectionables. You heard the announcement from Jake Ireland, our referee tonight.
we were talking about Andre Rison and his disenchantment with the officiating. I think the biggest issue for him was he had a lot of respect in the NFL. He had a reputation. He was a big playmaker, and when you have that, you're going to get the benefit of some calls. He comes up here and other than knowing his name, nobody's too impressed until he does something. So he's having to live with the rules like everybody else.
Coming up next, depending on what region you're watching in, Sportsnet News with Peter Labardius and Darren Millard. On Sportsnet East in Ontario, the Giants and Padres will go at it on Sportsnet West. And we will join the Mariners and Oakland A's. That American League West has gotten interesting all of a sudden. And keep an eye on Ichiro Suzuki as he chases the long-standing hits record in a single season of George Sisler. All coming up to you on Rogers Sportsnet. Matt Dunnigan can lose his hair after a game like this. In fact, he already has, as Sandy Annunziata has lots on the lid.
Well, Calgary has fought hard tonight. They certainly have demonstrated their youth. You referenced earlier how many young players they have on their roster, and it was it played out the way you would expect it to. The veteran leadership of Toronto, the big playmaking ability that they have, and the uphill battle that Calgary is still involved in. Young quarterback making his first CFL start. They've got a talented defense, but same problem they've had all year. Their defense is just on the field far too much. Eventually they get worn down, and the young quarterback made a few costly mistakes at the end of the first half, which immediately resulted in points. But Matt Dunnigan is going to continue to plod along, and they're going to learn from this. What they have done is gotten some valuable experience to the young Michael Souza. And then Kahari Jones. They're going to get him back the next time they take the football field. They made that big trade for a reason. They have to be optimistic about what can happen when they get a leader like him on the football field.
The scoreboard here at Skydome actually reads 52-24. But my feeble calculations have the Argos with 49 points, as there's the short pick to Randy Bowles, who bowls his way towards the 45. He's wearing a Stampeder uniform for the first time.
Number 21, Randy Bowles with the return. Brought down by number 36, Ray Hughes.
Pinball Clemens really has this team believing in themselves, and Matt Dunnigan has been asked a lot in recent weeks. Is he in over his head? He's wearing so many hats: GM, head coach, offensive coordinator. He's learning on the run here, and there's a lot to learn as a executive and a head coach in this league. Sometimes the only way you do learn those lessons is the hard way, as he is, but he's a competitive guy, smart guy. He'll keep persevering through it. I expect him to start having a lot of success here in the future.
Just 16 seconds to go as Joffrey Reynolds takes the handoff from Souza.
Joffrey Reynolds, ball carrier.
This will be a process for the Calgary Stampeders. We should fully expect, I guess, Matt Dunnigan and most of his staff to return next year. Will Ron Rook, the president of this team, bring them back?
To be determined, really. Matt Dunnigan will be back. I firmly believe that he'll be back, and I think he'll be given an opportunity to evaluate his staff and the job that they've done during the course of the season, and whether or not there's changes made, we'll wait and see. But you can expect to see Matt Dunnigan back in Calgary.
You can probably expect to see the Toronto Argonauts in the postseason this year. An emphatic victory tonight over the Stampeders as Michael Clemens and his team improve to 8-5-1. There are two old friends who won a Grey Cup together in 1991. What did you think from the Argonauts tonight? What did you like?
Impressive. Full game, as we talked about before. Every facet played well. Michael Bishop played a smart football game, led his team to a victory, secured themselves into a nice place for the playoff stretch. Now they just have to go out and continue to execute.
Our final broadcast on Sportsnet is an Argonaut victory for this season at least. We'd like to thank producer Rob Corte and